Jon and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is hour one of Jon and Jim. We are with you for the next 3 hours, once again from Circa in Las Vegas, where we are, by the way, now in the contest for Circa Million.
We're going to become millionaires.
$6 million guaranteed. That's right, $6 million on the line. We're going to be millionaires in about 4 months, Jim, at the end of the NFL season.
Yes, the show has about 4 months left in it.
Yeah, so enjoy it. Yeah,
yes.
You're right. Subscribe now.
Right, because if you don't, you're going to miss it when in 4 months we're millionaires and we're done.
Here's the thing. We're first place is $1 million.
Yeah, like
so
Manny said, don't jump on the wagon when we're raking.
Exactly. That's exactly right. Get on the wagon now. First place is $1 million. So do we walk at $500,000 each? Do we walk away from the show? Probably
not. Then this becomes just like a passion project for us.
That's right.
Like we can.
So we put less into it starting in 4 months
right
after we win Circa Million. So
yeah.
Listen to this. Of course, we're getting you ready for Padres and Mets coming up down at Petco. You've got 2 weeks to get to Vegas and enter either Circa Million or Circa Survivor like we did. Circa Million, there's $6 million in prizes. Circa Survivor, there's $10 million in prizes. Mike Palm's been with us before. He's at Circa. He'll join us in the 4 o'clock hour. We went through the process earlier today. Couldn't be easier. You get to Circa.
Oh, my gosh.
I didn't even realize it. You don't even have to have the cash. You just put it on credit card.
Yeah.
You show them your credit card. 5 minutes later, they give you a Circa Million hat.
Put everything on credit card. You're good to go.
Exactly. That's the way we should all live our lives. I'm kidding.
No.
But we're in, and there's 126 ways to win with Circa Million. NFL season is 2 weeks away. You got to get to Circa. You enter here, and then you can play from anywhere, including in San Diego. So we're here for the next 3 hours. Padres, I think it's fair. I know it's cliche. This is the turn the page day for San Diego after yesterday. They trailed 10-0 in the game. Yeah, they quote-unquote battled. We'll hear from Mike Shildt coming up in a few minutes. But you turn the page. They won the series. The Mets are here. Playoff implication series is what I would say for both of these teams. Playoff implication series.
What's a bigger series for? The Mets or the Padres? To me, it's a bigger series for the Mets.
Agreed.
And the last time the Padres played the Mets, they got swept. Jesse Winker, that douche, is coming back to town. And so there's a little something there for sure. Musgrove is going to be pitching, I think, tomorrow night. Dylan Cease tonight. 4-game series are always tough because, you want to take 3 of 4, but it's always hard to take 3 of 4 from a team in the regular season. It just is.
Yep.
So you got to just move on from yesterday. Yesterday was a bad game. The Waldron discussion is valid to have for sure for the rest of this year. But all in all, I'm not taking much from yesterday. I'm moving on. They took 2 or 3 from the Twins. What did we say? The most important thing going forward for this team for the rest of the season is just winning series. You win series, you're in. And I already have the utmost confidence in the world that this team is going to make the postseason. It's just like, hey, division, that's on the table, even though the crappy Seattle Mariners, like I said during the update, did absolutely no favors for the Padres, and they ended up firing their manager, thank goodness, because that team's in a nosedive. But yes, the division's still there. If you get to like 3 or hell, even 2.5, I don't know how the schedules would match up. Start of September, game on. But like we have talked about, you're at like 5-6 games back to start September. Just focus all your attention on playing good baseball to make the postseason.
I think it's a fascinating series. There's a lot of reasons why. The Mets swept the Padres earlier this year when their season early was on life support, completely on life support. The Mets, in the Grimace series, so to speak, sweep the Padres and then kind of reignite their season. And you look at them right now, and they're in the thick of things. The other thing is the whole Jesse Winker dynamic, what played out when he was with the Nationals. He hits that walk-off yesterday. We talked about it.
Yeah.
And now you're kind of maybe giving the Padres extra motivation knowing that Jesse Winker is back at Petco Park. They used that as fuel when they swept the Nationals earlier this year. And, again, they still have the best record in baseball in the second half. Can they continue to play at that pace? I don't even know if that's reasonable or not. They're winning it better than 75% in the second half at 22-7. So I don't know if that's going to continue or not. But, again, you got a team that has played great baseball in the second half in the Padres. You have a Mets team that's trying to make the postseason, and I think it's a fascinating 4 games coming up between the Padres and the Mets down at Petco.
It really is. It to me, you could really do damage here by taking care of business against the Mets and really hurt their postseason chances. Really. Because, I don't want to see the Mets in the postseason. I know Padres want to make sure that they can take out as many teams as they possibly can. What's going on here?
I don't know.
By the way, if you're watching us on YouTube, we apologize. It is it's a little difficult here because the Wi-Fi here is not great, but we're doing what we can. iHeartRadio app, radio, 760 AM, YouTube if you want to dare to do that. But
We dare you to go join us on YouTube right now. Search for Jon Jim 760. We dare you to do that.
I meant if
No, I like it.
if you want to deal with watching
Seriously.
a show at times.
Honestly, it's a good plug because
We never plug it on the radio.
We should do it more.
Here's the thing. We dare you right now. Our listeners, we dare you to find us on YouTube. See what a lot of our viewers experience every day on YouTube. We dare you to find us right now on YouTube. I dare you to do it. Search for Jon and Jim.
Are you using Wi-Fi from
No,
1925?
I'm going to switch over to my phone.
There you go. Yeah, the Wi-Fi here is not great. Anyway, we move on. Padres Mets. Yesterday, to me, I take really, honestly, nothing from it. Like the Waldron aspect of it, yeah, that's a little concerning. All in all, I still feel very confident about this team going forward. That yesterday's 11-4 loss is not going to linger here, and they're just going to wipe the slate clean and just move on.
Well, let me ask you this. I said 22-7 in the second half. Is that who they are? Or are they the team we've seen over the last two series? Are they the 3-3 team over the last two series? Or are they the 22-7 team we've seen in the second half? Or are they in the middle? They're obviously in the middle.
They're more in the middle, but I think they're closer still to the 22-7 team than the 3-3 in the last 6 games.
I agree with that.
Team, for sure.
But even with what do they have remaining now, guys? How many games are left this
72 and 56
season? Is their record?
If I'm not mistaken, 72 and 56.
So 34 games?
34. Okay.
Okay, so in 30, but here's the thing. You go 17-17, you got 89 wins. So they can even be the 3-3 team. And again, we've talked about how challenging the schedule is. They can be the 500 team for the last 34 games. They're in the postseason. They play better than that, Jim. They're winning 90 games. They play better than 500 from here on out. They're winning 90 games. Simple as that.
Yeah, that's kind of what you ask. Like all you ask for is that. If you get that, then you're good. The division, not winning that, like not being in that race, potentially with 2 weeks to go, in that final series versus the Dodgers, like really meaning something. Yeah, it's a little disappointing, but the main goal is the main goal, which is making the postseason. That's all that matters. The division, while they're now 4 games back of the Dodgers, like I said, I mean, can anybody beat the Dodgers right now? Or is every team just going to lay over and die versus them?
Well, it's funny because they really hadn't turned it on. And we've said this, and you're kind of like playing with fire. And you're like, are the Dodgers human? And then, they're always capable. I mean, of course they're capable. And honestly, by expectations, they haven't really met them. They were supposed to win 110 games. They're not going to win 110 games, but they're capable of going 10-1 in an 11-game stretch. Padres have gone 10-1 in 11-game stretches, or 12-2 in 14-game stretches, or whatever. But you're right, Dodgers have kind of turned it on. I would say at 4 games, I'm still not quote unquote worried like it's not doable. I think it gets stretched out to something like 6 games. It's going to be really tough. I think you hang within 4 for a little bit, and you can still do this. If it gets much beyond that, it's going to be hard to envision it actually happening.
No, I feel the same way.
Right?
Because we watched last night, and we even talked about it. Like, hey, man, the Dodgers, sometimes they just flip that switch, and hopefully it's not right now.
Sure.
To where you look up in a month's time and you get to that final series of the year, and you're 8 games back. Because then you're truly, really just setting things up for the
setting your rotation. Is it the end of the world, by the way, if you're not chasing something? And the reason I say that is if you put everything at the final weekend of the year,
right,
you're tied with 3 to play. You win 2 and you win a division. But what if you lose 2 and then your number 4 starter is throwing game 1 of a wild card series and his name is Matt Waldron? That's not the right example.
That's not going to happen.
That's not going to happen. They won't allow that to happen.
No.
They just won't allow. Now, if Matt Waldron was the 3.1 ERA guy all year long,
then
maybe they'd be more comfortable with it.
But he's not. He's got a 10+ ERA in August.
Yeah,
he had the worst start for a starting pitcher at Petco Park in the history of the franchise.
Correct.
And
10 runs allowed.
10 runs allowed. Now Petco's only been around for 20+ years, but
still,
that's the worst start you saw yesterday from a starting pitcher for the Padres at Petco Park
ever
in Petco Park's existence.
And of course, they had him wear it 18 games in 18 days. They could have yanked him earlier. They did. And Sean Reynolds then, quote unquote, wears it in the bullpen.
And there's a little positives there where you are in the middle of an 18 games and 18-day stretch. and you get at least a couple more innings out of him.
Yeah, definitely.
And you don't have to go to like somebody other than Sean Reynolds. And Sean Reynolds truthfully did really well yesterday, just going out there and getting as many outs as possible. Even though he gave up a couple runs, doesn't matter. Like, just go out there, get as many outs as possible, get out of here without using any top, reliever or any reliever that will be used predominantly maybe in this series in high leverage situations versus the Mets. And you kind of view yesterday as like a little bit of an off day, but at the same time, it is a loss, which sucks.
Yeah, I mean, Matt Waldron is not going to be trusted. And like, who disagrees with this? Matt Waldron is not going to be trusted in the postseason, but I still think Matt Waldron probably plays a role in getting you to the postseason, if it makes sense.
Well,
like
he has to.
He has to.
Because
Yu Darvish isn't here now. Maybe he's here later. And you're going to need Waldron to have at least a couple of outings that give you a chance to win, I would say. In his last 6 or 7 starts of the season, if he can, if the Padres can go 3-3 in those 6 starts, or 4-3, or shoot even 3-4, like, they can't just lose every single time he starts. That's not a scenario that's a good one for the Padres in their quest to make the postseason. But once you make the postseason, you're not going to be counting on him. I don't even know if he would be on a postseason roster, to be honest with you. I mean, that would play out over the next 5 or 6 weeks.
At this point in time, he shouldn't be on a postseason roster. I don't think he would be on a postseason roster. And it's a little bit of a bummer because Matt Waldron has been a pretty steady hand for you all season long. He has, I want to say he started every game that he's been called upon. Right?
I think so. 26 starts this year.
That's a lot. And that's, trending towards the 30-plus starts.
Oh, yeah.
For a pitcher, he's trending towards around 180 innings. That's a pretty damn good year. Now his ERA has ballooned here in the last month. And if he's not on a postseason roster, I understand that. But he is also a guy that they're just not going to say, hey, we're not going to start you for the rest of the year. Like, he's going to get starts in September, and those are going to be very important starts. So, yeah, the postseason roster thing, that's the conversation down the line. More importantly, when they call upon him for however many starts he's going to make in September, he's got to pitch better. He just does. And if he doesn't, then, I mean, that's going to hurt the Padres' chances at potentially trying to win a division. And, oh, by the way, also hurt their chances to get a 4 seed in home field versus the Diamondbacks potentially.
And honestly, while, a lot of people feel like they should lock the Padres in, and it's not a formality, but you should feel good about where the Padres are. They're in a playoff spot by, I think, 5.5 games. So it's not a lock as we sit here right now. They're 5.5 games better than the Mets. This is a 4-game series against the Mets. So think about that. They're 5.5 games better than the Mets. This is a 4-game series against the Mets. You lose 3 or more of these games, and all of a sudden, this race is still wide open in the wild card. We have a great show lined out for you from Circa in Las Vegas here today. We're going to have Mike Palm from Circa swing by in the 4 o'clock hour. Jason Horwitz, we're in Vegas. Raiders and Niners are playing actually tomorrow night at Allegiant Stadium, and Jason Horwitz is the voice of the Raiders. He's going to join us at 4:30. We'll talk Aztec football as well with J.R. Tolver from Aztec Link. He'll join us at 5:30. We have great giveaways. In fact, we're going to give away tickets to see, let's say, Pink with Sheryl Crow coming up on the other side. So tickets to see Pink with Sheryl Crow coming up. Also, Mike Shildt, did he find positives even in yesterday's loss?
Of course he did.
Of course he did. That's next on Jon and Jim. Back to Circa here in Vegas. Jon and Jim, really good show for you over the next couple of hours. I said the voice of the Raiders, Jason Horwitz, will join us at 4:30. We are in Vegas after all. Football's coming in 2 weeks. Mike Palm from Circa at 4:15. Jared Tolver at 5:30. We're getting you ready for the Padres and the Mets. And again, if you're looking to enter Circa Million, we're in, so you can play along with us. You can enter Circa Survivor as well. You got 2 weeks to get here to Circa in Vegas and enter. More information at circasports.com. What do you think of my hat, Jim?
So, behind the scenes here, we're getting ready, and Jon sees people wearing this Circa Millions hat. And the first thing he says is, I want a hat.
I'm like, where do I get the hat?
Where do I get a hat? And you have to sign up for Circa Millions, and they give you a hat.
It's basically $1,000 hat.
Pretty much $1,000 hat. And that's exactly what Jon just did.
That's how I got that.
And we just and I was good. I gave my hat back. I didn't want a hat. Jon wanted his hat, and he's keeping it. And so that's how this whole thing went down.
That's how we got that.
Circa Millions because Jon wanted a hat.
So yes, so I have the hat, and we are in Jon and Jim Circa Million. 126 ways to win, $1 million for first place. But listen to this. Last place, which could be, we're probably closer to last than first.
That's us, yeah.
100K.
Oh,
if we really suck, which is very possible, we get 100K.
I want to suck.
But if we're really good, we get $1 million.
I want to be really good.
Right, but we would take really sucking too.
I would suck. Pause.
For 100K?
For 100K.
Circasports.com for more information. Jim said it. All right. Mike Shildt, he finds positives in everything. Now, they are 22-7 in the second half.
You can find a look, I'm okay, and we're going to hear from Shildt in a second here. I'm okay with Shildt finding the positives in an 11-4 loss. If you just had a stretch where you go 22-7 and you're 16 games above 500 and you're looking at a division and you're right now firmly in the wild card picture, I'm cool with it. When the team loses and they're like 500 or a game under 500 or have a 5-game losing streak, that's when I have a problem with it. But right now, Shildt, you want to be positive? Be positive.
All right, so this is after an 11-4 loss. What were the positives for Mike Shildt yesterday? Let's take a listen.
Yeah, you read my mind. I mean, that was huge. Him being able, it's a big part of his role in that role. He's like our impromptu longer man. And, we have been saving him for those opportunities. And today was that opportunity for him to go out. And he was able to save an inning or two off other guys. Morejon hadn't pitched as much, and Estrada had only pitched an inning in a week. So it was good to get them out there. They looked good. And but it was huge for him to get that 2 2/3 to be able to make sure we didn't tax the bullpen. Did a nice shot. And he kept it right there. He gave us a chance. And, the last thing that I'll say just in general is, well, two things. First of all, Mason McCoy, first big league knock. Let's appreciate that. That's a big accomplishment. So good for him. And then I just love the competition all the way to the end. I mean, clearly it didn't come out on our side. Talk about guys fighting, scratching, and clawing. I loved the result for him, Arise. I loved his last at bat. Last at bat of the game, and this guy is competing his tail off. And, Jackson normalizes competing regardless of circumstance, put a good swing. This is what winners do, man. They compete regardless of circumstances, and guys did it today. The effort level and the fight was there.
He loved Luis Arise fouling off 4 pitches before recording the 27th out of the game.
Yeah.
And I'm with him. McCoy, first career base hit, awesome.
He's in the lineup today.
And he's starting
short.
29 years of age, by the way. Had 1 previous plate appearance in the major leagues before this year and picked up his first major league hit yesterday.
Mason McCoy walked into the clubhouse today and did a double take at the lineup. Wait. I'm in the lineup with Xander Bogaerts and Manny Machado. I'm starting at short today? What?
Well, it's not like Tyler Wade's exactly lit the world on fire.
He has not lit the world on fire. There you go. San Diego Padres.
There we go.
Right there.
Yeah, we're at Radio Row, by the way, at Circa. There's 37 radio stations here.
There's a lot.
Including
Podcasts,
San Diego Sports
radio
760.
stations.
And it's open to the public, which is kind of cool. I don't even think that when we did the Radio Row at the Super Bowl, I don't think it's open to the public, or is it?
It is.
Oh, it was? People were walking around?
Yeah, John.
We were like little zoo animals, like the panda?
I remember my first time at the Super Bowl, Radio Row.
I don't remember
which
that.
was actually
It
my
actually
first time
was-
at Super
yeah.
Bowl Radio Row.
Yeah.
So what they do at Radio Row, John, if you remember, they have us in the middle of the convention center, and then they have a barricade around us, and then fans can walk
Oh, that's
in
right. But people couldn't
and
get
walk
that
around.
close to us.
No,
because where we were located. Yeah.
So
Anyway, yeah. Are there positives? I mean, they trailed 10-0. Yes, you got innings from, Matt Waldron needed to wear it, and he did. Sean Reynolds was good in relief. Mason McCoy picks up his first big league hit. I mean, again, if you want to find the small things and bigger things, I understand it. Like you said, if they were 7-22 in the second half, I mean, I don't even know I would say after that. Like if they're 15 games under 500 right now, there are no positives. You cannot spin that for me, but that's not where they are. They're in a very good position. See if they can, again, put yesterday behind them. It's all about starting pitching. Yesterday, Matt Waldron wasn't good. He hasn't been good. Now you have Dylan Cease, who's been one of the best starting pitchers in baseball over the last 2 months.
no one can put lipstick on a pig better than Mike Shildt. Seriously.
It's true.
Nobody can dress up a pig or dress up dog crap better than Mike Shildt can. I mean, yesterday's game, it was nice. Jackson Merrill had that 3-run homer for sure. A little stat pad, from him. Donovan Solano had a home run. Okay, it's great. But all in all, that game sucked. That game was not fun. We watched majority of it at Stadium Swim.
We watched the whole thing.
The game sucked.
Yeah.
He's just talking about at bats in the ninth inning. Mason McCoy's single.
Sean Reynolds. Who was good.
I mean,
Yeah.
Mike Shildt is the ultimate lipstick on the pig. Dress that thing up to make it look as good as possible, and he enjoys doing it.
We've got an update on Fernando Tatis Jr. on the other side, but caller 5 right now, you're going to see Pink with Sheryl Crow and the Script Wednesday, September 11th at Petco Park. Caller 5, you're going to see Pink with Sheryl Crow. The number is 877-767-4760. Call right now. Caller 5, 877-767-4760. Pink with Sheryl Crow. You're going. 2 free tickets. For tickets and info, go to Ticketmaster.com. An update on Fernando Tatis Jr.'s progress. That's next.
All right, this update is brought to you by Mattress Firm. Padres start a 4-game series with the Mets tonight at Petco Park. 6:40 first pitch. Dylan Cease on the mound for the Padres. Padres coming off a series win versus the Twins, but one of their worst losses of the year yesterday as they lost 11-4. But we move on. Other news in baseball. Mariners, who did no hope for the Padres playing the Dodgers, end up firing their manager, Scott Service, today. It's Mattress Firm's best sale of the year, Labor Day sale. Save up to $900 on select adjustable mattress sets. Maybe John should have done that. From Steel and Foster, Tempur-Pedic, and Sealy Plus, get up to a $300 instant gift for pillows and more.
Hi, Jon and Jim back with you from Circa in Las Vegas. I did buy the mattresses arrived on Saturday. More on that next week. We're at Circa in Las Vegas, and we've got Jason Horwitz, voice of the Raiders, swinging by at 4:30. Coming up at 4:30. In addition to that, we've got Mike Palm from Circa at 4:15. J.R. Tolver, Aztec for Life, at 5:30. So, an update as the Padres get ready for the Mets from our Marty Caswell, San Diego Sports 760 at Petco Park at this hour. Fernando Tatis Jr. running on field at Petco Park, not jogging or jugging.
No jogging.
Not walking. He is running on field at Petco Park. He told Kevin Acee 2 days ago, I'll be back soon. Is the ramp up underway? When are they going to announce that rehab assignment for Fernando Tatis Jr.? Is that coming sooner rather than later?
Well, at least it's something, because, I mean, I'm thinking to myself, we're not going to see this guy until maybe the end of the year, if this year at all. Like, I don't know when we're going to see Tatis. I don't know when he's going to start his rehab assignment. You know, I think all we're under the assumption, like, yeah, late August. Now, beginning of September feels like a pipe dream. Feels more like middle of September. And thank God they're winning, because if they weren't, we would all be consistently every single day having like Tatis Watch 2024, because he's a big piece of this team, no doubt about it. And I know that they're winning, and they're winning a lot without him, and that's great. But you can't tell me that adding a 840 OPS guy back in this lineup is a bad thing. Does not.
It's not a bad thing. Like, dude, I'm deciphering this video from Marty shot on like an iPhone, like an Android 4 or whatever she's using.
Android 4.
Like, I'm like breaking this down. Like, it's like he's moving, dude. This ain't a jog. Like, look at the first 2 seconds of this video.
I see
no,
it.
look at
I
this.
see it.
Look at that.
I
Look
see
at those
it.
strides.
Yeah.
And he's moving faster in this video I've ever moved in my life.
Yes, John.
And this is like a ramp up.
If you did that, you would tear both of your hamstrings.
My hamstrings would be done.
Yes.
So, like, this guy's, he's gearing up, is what I would say. Like, they're testing this thing out. He's gearing up. He's been doing baseball activities. What's today? It's August 22nd. I mean, He's not a pitcher. It's not like you got to go sim game, rehab, build your arm back up. Like, once he starts the rehab, it's not going to be more than a handful of days, right? He's not going to be rehabbing for 10 games.
Dennis said Fernando Tatis Jr. just running sprints at Petco
Sprints.
Park for the first time since he went on the injured list. He estimated he ran about at 70%.
And he was 4 times faster than me.
Anybody's 4 times faster than you, John.
True.
When's the last time you ran sprints in your life?
I run sprints all the time at Orange Theory.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, you don't.
I do.
How?
Where are you? I do. No, at Orange Theory. Seriously. Called All Outs, I think.
Wow.
But yeah, Fernando Tatis Jr. is probably quicker than me. So that's an encouraging development here, obviously, and a big one, that Fernando Tatis Jr. has been cleared for sprints. And like you just said, Dennis Lynn saying 70%. So this is going to be an interesting ramp up. It really is, because they know the same things we know. You can't get back on the field late September and trust in him making an impact for you this year. You got to get him back. Got to give him time to get back to the player that he's been or he's capable of being. There are no guarantees. It's the big leagues. But you can't just plug him in there September 25th and be like, all right, postseason starts in 6 days. Let's go. It's got to be way before that.
Way before that.
And they know that.
And thankfully, David Peralta has stepped in and played really good baseball in the absence of Tatis. Another player that you're like, where would they be without this guy?
Mm-hmm.
Like, good job, AJ. Way to get a guy that, essentially was sitting on his couch, and they turned him into a pretty important piece of this team while Tatis has been out of the lineup with the stress reaction injury. But yeah, you got to have a ramp up time. You want to, once you get to the postseason, he's already played what, 3-4 weeks potentially?
I think so. Really. I think anything less than that would surprise me.
Like if he returns September
4th.
What's the cutoff date, you think? September
cutoff for what?
To feel really good about Tatis and going into the postseason.
Yeah, that's a good question.
I say September 10th, no later. No later than September 10th.
I need it before that. What's the last day of the regular season? Is it in September this year or October 1st?
No, it's in September. I want to say it's
September 29th, the Sunday?
29th.
Yeah. No, I need before September 10th. That's only 19 days, which is less than 19 games. No, I need more than that. I need to feel good about it. I need him back September 5th. Because that's not that many games. There's 3 or 4 off days.
I mean, I agree with you.
Yeah.
I want to see Tatis for as many games as possible.
Yeah.
But I don't trust him, dude. I don't trust him when it comes to his injuries.
But do we trust our eyes here?
Jon, he's
running, but he doesn't have this. Ain't a wrist injury. You know, I mean, this is a leg thing.
That's not to me. That's not close.
No, I think I say plug him in tonight.
If he was running the bases at full speed right now, I'd be like, okay, yeah, that's a good sign. Running straight sprints without diagonal moving or going around a base, like that's just like what he said, 70%.
No, I'm with you on that. But hear me out.
I need to see him go first to third, like doing those, like, you know,
at like 90%
base running
with
drills.
the turns. Yeah.
Yeah. I need to see that.
Okay.
And like, okay, cool.
Great. But hear me out. Let's say he does that in the next week, which will happen, is my guess. The rehab is going to be like 3 games. 4 games.
Maybe if that.
That's what I'm saying.
Maybe 2, 1.
Well, I think it'll be a couple to see how he feels afterwards.
Well, they might be like, hey, we need to speed this thing up. Go down and get 4 ABs.
Yeah.
And then the next day you're back.
So that's my point. I think that you rehab him over a short period of time, maybe a series. I think it's less than a week, clearly, and then you put him back in the lineup. Now, it's August 22nd. You got to get him back in the next 2 weeks, is what I would say. To feel good about it, you got to get him back in the next 2 weeks.
Yep.
And I feel like that's, you know, I say this, and it's probably out of term because Fernando Tatis Jr. has had setback after setback in his career, but I think it's realistic to see a guy on field who's already been ramping up, who's been doing baseball activities. He's clearly been swinging. He's been taking BP. So now can they get him back in 2 weeks? I mean, think about that. Getting Fernando Tatis Jr. back, like you said, is 850 OPS. He's capable of being a 950 OPS player over a month. You plug Fernando Tatis Jr. back in, and you're bolstering something that's already pretty good here in the second half.
Let me ask you this: where do you put him in back? Where do you put him in the lineup?
I put him wherever they've consistently put him throughout the course of this year, although they weren't playing great collectively as a team. I mean, I'm not putting him at the top of the lineup. That's where Luis Ariz is going to be.
Because they've had a pretty consistent top of the lineup here that has worked for them and got them to 22-7 in the second half so far. I'm not saying to put Tatis like hit 8th.
No, of course not.
Luis Ariz, he's going to be your leadoff hitter.
Yeah.
They want to have Jerks and Profar close to the top of the lineup. Do you just slot Tatis second?
Yeah, I like
second. Everybody down?
I like second. Yes, that's what I would do.
So Rise, Toddy, Profar, Cronenworth, Manny, Bogarts, Merrill.
Now Manny and Bogey are a little far down there.
Yeah, and they don't want to move Cronenworth past where he's hit all year long, which is in the 3-hole.
What do I say? Good problem.
It's a good problem to
have.
Good
problem.
Hey, we got Tatis back. We're going to put him.
I mean, if you plug Tatis in at the back of the Machado Cronenworth, I don't think they'll do that. I'd be shocked if they did that.
And his career numbers just aren't as good as they are hitting close to the top of the lineup.
I mean, his career numbers as a leadoff hitter have been terrific. That's not happening, I wouldn't think.
No.
I would personally slot him in at the 2-hole because I think he's very good there. You got the speed, you got the power. But honestly, it's a good problem for me. And if it's 3, it's 3 behind Profar.
And then you put Tatis back in this lineup, and they just have this massive reluctance to ever put Donovan Solano in a starting lineup ever again, it seems like. Then your bench has Solano and Peralta on it, which, I mean, that's pretty damn good. A guy from both sides of the plate. You can have a lefty in Peralta and Solano from the right side. Good problems to have, and it just shows that this team,
true,
if and when healthy or close to fully healthy, this is the deepest Padres team I can remember since covering them for well over a decade.
How about this? An update from Mike Shildt on Fernando Tatis Jr., and we'll try to hear from Shildt coming up within the hour. Mike Shildt said there's a quote-unquote loose timeline for Tatis's return now.
Let me guess, you didn't say anything about the timeline?
That's exactly right.
Yeah, of course they didn't.
That is exactly right. Wouldn't divulge it because, the Cardinals are waiting on that.
Hey.
Because if the Cardinals know,
we want to make sure
Tatis is back September 8th.
Every single advantage possible to our team when nobody
cares.
cares.
At some point, they're going to have to disclose it. And that's the other thing. It's not a secret. When you rehab, you rehab. You can't hide it when you're playing at Double-A.
Yeah.
It's not behind a black curtain.
So
you know what I mean? It's just not.
This organization when it comes to hiding injuries is very. It's just annoying. But it is what it is.
Mike Shildt added that Tatis could hit on field. He's hit obviously in cages. He could hit on field in the coming days. If nothing else, encouraging. I would say Fernando Tatis Jr. beginning a real ramp up right now to return to the San Diego Padres. We'll hear from Mike Shildt coming up within the hour, so don't go anywhere. We're at Circa in Las Vegas. We've got great guests on the show today. Mike Palm from Circa in the 4 o'clock hour. Jason Horwitz, the voice of the Raiders, as we're in Vegas, will join us at 4:30. J.R. Tolver on Aztecs football from Aztec Link at 5:30. And speaking of college football, everyone loves the new world of NIL and transfer portal, right? That's facetious. You'll hear from a head coach on what's going on right now in college athletics, plus the latest on the Padres and the Mets as we're getting you ready for a 6:40 first pitch. We're at the Circa in Las Vegas. Stay with us right here on Jon and Jim. All right, a lot happening here. Circa in Las Vegas. We are in Circa million, Jon and Jim. We are in. We're going to win $6 million. Yeah, which is great. We're not going to win all the prizes. We're going to win $1 million, and then our listeners are going to win the other $5 million, and we're all going to walk away with $6 million combined. We have Aaron here right now from Circa. Aaron, hop on. Okay, what do we got here?
All right, so you can win about $1.6 million because you can, once you hit every single one of your picks, which is going to happen, you guys are going to go 90-0. You're going to dominate this.
Yes.
Not only will you win the $1 million overall prize, you're going to win all of the quarterly prizes, which are $150,000 each.
Perfect.
So $1.6 million.
This is perfect.
That's we told our listeners we got about 5 months left of the show.
Yeah.
Because once we win all the money, probably not going to be doing the show anymore. Even though $1.6 million in today's climate isn't like the end all be all to go retire.
Well, I think we would take it.
We'd take
right?
it.
It's a lot of money.
Here's the part. You're splitting it, though, right?
That's correct.
So it's only $800,000.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Mm.
Well, we'll keep doing the show.
Well,
because
here's what you do.
Year.
You're going to start giving out
Yeah.
picks. You're going to give out Venmo, and everyone's going to tip you when they make all their money.
Yes.
Okay, so Aaron with Circa is with us right now for a couple of minutes. I know Mike Palm's going to swing by, but he just heard us talking right here on Radio Row. There's 30-something stations here, people from all over the country. What do our listeners need to know? We've been talking about this, obviously, for days and days and weeks and weeks. There's Circa Million. There's Circa Survivor. You need to get to Vegas between now and the start of the NFL season. Then you get back to San Diego. You could play from San Diego. You don't have to be in Vegas. What do you want our listeners to know about these contests?
Yeah, the first thing is, like you said, you don't have to be in Las Vegas to actually play. You have to come in here, or actually, if for whatever reason you're going to Reno, we have the sports book up in Sparks, Nevada, right outside Reno Legends Bay. You can sign up there. So you have to come up inside, but you can play from anywhere. You saw it when you went down to the sports books. All the proxies sprayed out across there.
Yeah.
They're all great people. They'll be able to get you in. One of the people who won Survivor last year only won because their proxy told them they were still in it because they had misclicked a pick. They thought they had lost. The guy calls like right before the deadline. Hey, what's your pick this week? He's like, what do you mean I'm out? No, you misclicked. This was on Thanksgiving when the Packers beat the Lions.
Oh my gosh.
He thought he had picked the Lions, and he ended up picking the Packers. He ended up winning $2.3 million because of his proxy. So proxy, great people. They will make sure that you get in, make sure that you win. So Survivor, great. Million, just as great. 126 different ways to win. Of course, you're going to win 5 of that 126. So I don't need to go through the first place or the first place quarterly or anything. But top 100 pays out. That's something a lot of people don't realize. That it's top 100 overall.
So you could suck and still win some money.
Maybe not suck, but you can do okay.
Average. Then.
Yeah, you can. You go about
That's where this show lives, in the average.
That's right.
You go 59, 60%, you'll be right there for the top 100 potentially. Seems pretty doable.
Yeah,
3 and 2
absolutely.
every week, not bad. So top 100 pays out. Quarterly prizes, top 5 every quarter gets money. Top one gets $150,000. So you go on a hot streak through October, boom, all of a sudden you're $150,000 richer.
What do you see people gravitating and playing more, the Survivor or the Circa Million?
So it's interesting. We have a lot more interest in entries in Survivor. We've talked about it. Last year we had $9.2 million in prizes. So 9,200 people, over 9,200 in Survivor, or entries, I should say, not people.
Right.
And that's what I'm about to get at here. We actually have more people playing in Million than Survivor, but a lot of people play multiple entries in Survivor.
Yeah.
So the prize pool gets bigger. One big thing about the Million, though, there is that overlay. The past few years, we have not hit that guarantee, that $6 million guarantee. And that means that money comes out of Derek Stevens' pocket, goes into the prize pool. If you're into statistics, if you're into plus EV bets, you're getting way more money than you should if there's
Which
only.
is amazing.
And right now it's trending, probably going to be another overlay.
What I love, and I want to communicate this to our listeners, and Aaron will let you run in a second, but that here's the deal. If they end up getting so many entrants that the Survivor pool goes from what they're guaranteeing of 10 million, but they have 15 million in entrants, that's not going to the house. It's going to the winners.
Mm-hmm.
None of the money from the entrants for Survivor or Million go to Circa. They all go back to the contestants and the winners of this contest. So if they get 15 million in entrants, you can win $15 million. If they get 30 million in entrants, then $30 million is on the line, right?
Yeah, and we keep saying, $10 million guaranteed for Survivor,
guaranteed.
$10 million guaranteed. It's going to be more than 10 million. Like, unless something really weird happens over the next 2 weeks, we're going to soar over that. It's going to be blow away last year's record, $9.2 million. By the way, about million, one more thing I want to bring up.
Yeah.
Let's say you go 0-5 that first week. There's the booby prize. Last place overall wins $100,000.
Right. Then you try to lose from there on out.
Exactly.
I got to lose all. I got to lose them all. Yeah.
Aaron, we appreciate you having us again for our listeners. Circasports.com. Get here over the next 2 weeks. 2 weeks from tonight, NFL opening night.
You can go past that. Registration's open until Saturday, the Saturday of that first NFL weekend. And by the way, for Survivor, just a fun little wrinkle.
Yeah.
Let's say you want to bet that first game, Chiefs Thursday, Chiefs Ravens.
Chiefs Baltimore.
But let's just say pretend you want to.
Okay.
Let's say you lose. You can rebuy in.
Oh,
Then let's say you want to play that Packers Eagles game. You lose again.
You could buy
back in. You can have a maximum of 10 entries. That's 10 entries as of that Saturday registration. So if you've already lost, you can buy back in.
Wow.
On the way out the door, we're already in on Circa Million. Jon and Jim, we might be in on Circa Survivor before we get out of here.
John's going to twist my arm for that one.
Thank you, man.
Thanks, I expect a few more entries.
I like it. Thank you.
There we go.
Aaron with Circa swinging by here on Radio Row. All right, we'll have Mike Palm from Circa in the 4 o'clock hour as well. Have you heard this today, Jim? We know about the transfer portal. We know about NIL. We know the impact that it's had on college athletics. This is the Miami of Ohio head coach, not the University of Miami, not the Canes. Miami of Ohio in the MAC, Chuck Martin, like on a coach's show on YouTube. Listen to this back and forth.
All right, special teams, lost your kicker. Carter McLaughlin.
We didn't lose him. He's at Alabama. We know exactly.
I understand.
We know exactly
that.
where he's at. Like you media people, it's all pretend. Like, no, Alabama stole our kicker.
Yes,
they illegally recruited illegally recruited our kicker and stole him from us. And like that's a fact. But that's college. But we act like it's not. We live in this la world. Like, hey, let's not talk. I don't know why everybody knows what's going on. So, yeah, Alabama stole our kicker. A couple other schools tried to steal it, but then what's the question?
Alabama stole our kicker, the head coach at the Miami for Miami of Ohio, the Redhawks.
Is he wrong? I mean, NIL, like when you're Alabama, when you're LSU,
you can literally
Georgia,
handpick players from other programs with NIL resources.
Go to the players that have entered the transfer portal.
Or do you get them to get into the portal through back channels?
You definitely have back channels to get them in the transfer portal, and you say, hey, you come to Alabama, you can make like, I don't know, $750,000. You can make 1.2 mil. Like if you're a 18-year-old, 19-year-old kid and you're at University of Miami, Ohio.
Yeah, Miami of Ohio. You're right.
And I'm sure the NIL there is
not what it is in Alabama.
I mean, let's just say, I don't know, a kid can make
hundreds of dollars or a few $1,000s.
Say the top you can make at University of Miami, Ohio is $2,000. I'll just say that. The like minimum you make it Alabama is what?
Tens of thousands, I would guess, in NIL. I don't know.
50, I don't have no idea, but let's just say
a lot more than that.
Just for argument's sake, $100,000.
Right.
Are you kidding me?
Right. So you're saying that, how can you say no? Now, when he says steal, I understand that sentiment. But this is kind of within the rules. Not kind of, it is the rules. The portal exists. Name, image, and likeness collectives exist. They didn't truly steal him, I don't think. I think they played within the rules. They just have more money than Miami of Ohio. Therefore, that's how they landed.
You can consider it stealing, but it really isn't. It's just Alabama is just, we got the bigger you-know-what, and we have a bigger NIL pool. And so it's going to be a situation like we're going to go to schools like University of Miami, Ohio. And if we want a player there, then we're probably most likely going to get that player.
The update on Tatis beyond sprinting is that he will hit on the field within the next 2 days, per Marty Caswell.
That is a
big-time
update that I've been waiting for, because the sprinting part, him today, okay, that's like, hey, how do you feel? But hitting on the field, getting reps, getting ready, running the bases, fielding in right field, whatever, like that to me is the most important part of this whole equation.
And even more from Dennis Lynn, he's definitely progressing and getting back to playing. That from Dennis per Mike Shildt, progressing and getting back to playing. And they have a loose timetable. I'm just putting it all together in my head. They know the postseason's coming. They know they want him to have a certain period of time.
Up. Yeah.
I think that hopefully in the next couple of weeks, you're going to see Fernando Tatis Jr. back in the big leagues. Cross your fingers, though. Padres fans, much more on the Padres getting ready for the Mets here coming up at 6:40. We'll kick off hour 2 from Circa on the other side with the wrap. Jason Horwitz on the Raiders. We are in Vegas. He'll join us at 4:30. J.R. Tolver, Aztec for Life at 5:30. Hour 2 of Jon and Jim. That's next.
All right, this update is brought to you by Mattress Firm. Padres start a 4-game series with the Mets tonight at Petco Park. 6:40 first pitch. Dylan Cease on the mound for the Padres. Good news, Fernando Tatis Jr. was doing sprints today in the outfield. He says he was doing them at about 70%. Mike Shildt said that he is going to start hitting in the cage in the next couple of days. Other news in baseball, Joey Votto. He retired after 17 seasons with the Reds yesterday. And the Mariners, who have done no help for the Padres, they played the Dodgers and got swept by them, fired their manager, Scott Service, today. It's Mattress Firm's best sale of the year. Labor Day sale, save up to $900 on select adjustable mattress sets from Stearns and Foster, Tempur-Pedic, and Sealy. Plus, get up to $300 instant gifts for pillows and more.
Getting you all set for that drive home. Let's just start the show. Here's Jon and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? Hour 2 from Circa in Las Vegas, here until 6 p.m. A couple of really good hours lined up for you. We're going to catch up with Jason Horwitz. NFL 2 weeks away. We're in Vegas. The Raiders actually play the Niners tomorrow at Allegiant Stadium in the preseason. Jason Horwitz is the voice of the Raiders. He'll swing by at 4:30. Jared Tolver, Aztec for life on the upcoming football season for San Diego State under Sean Lewis. We'll connect with Jared Tolver at 5:30. We have a ton of giveaways for you over the next 2 hours. Def Leppard tickets, Dan and Shay tickets, 311 tickets as well. So be listening for your chance to win those tickets coming up over the next 2 hours. The story we're really following today is Fernando Tatis Jr. The ramp-up apparently is underway as the Padres hope to get him back sooner rather than later. No real timetable, Jim, but clearly we're at the point where they're going to figure out if they can get this guy back, if they can get him back, hopefully with enough time in the regular season to make an impact.
Yeah, the hitting thing is huge. That's the next couple of days. We still are in the dark on when he'll return as far as actually on the field, but at least this seems like things are ramping up here with him.
No doubt.
Because I mean, we're getting close to September, and you're like, hey, where's Tatis at, man? What's going on here?
Well, he's on the field. He's on the field.
Yes, he's on the field, John.
All right. Here's what we're going to do. Again, we've got a couple of guests for you this hour, but right now, let's get to this.
It's time for The Wrap, presented by Sombrero Mexican Food. Check out their website at sombreromex.com.
Is this a must-win series for the Padres?
Well, taking 3 of 4 from any team is always difficult, so it's not a must-win series, but I think splitting with the Mets at worst is something that I think we could tolerate, right? You have a 4-3 homestand, split the Mets, move on, but it would be nice to like stick it to the Mets a little bit here and hurt their postseason aspirations with a really good series versus them here this weekend.
Yeah, because if you do worse than a split, like you got problems against the Mets, and they could get into the postseason, and in theory, you could match up against them.
Yeah.
Like if you lose 3 or 4 this week to the Mets, you're 1-6 against the Mets. So like you got to go 2-2 against the Mets at worst.
Yeah, you got swept by them earlier this year.
Exactly. So is it tolerable to go 2-2? I would say yes, because that is a 4-3 homestand. So yeah, I do believe that's tolerable. I think ideal scenario is you win 3. I don't think anyone goes into a 4-game series thinking, hey, we're going to win all 4 games. Yeah. If you win 3, that is a great homestand, a 5-2 homestand. If you go 2-2, you move on. It's a 4-3 homestand. Anything worse than 2-2, and you've got a Mets problem if you're the Padres.
Just hopefully the Mets won't make the postseason.
But if they take 3 out of 4, they'd all of a sudden probably be in playoff position. They're a game out.
They're a game out right now?
Game and a half. Look that up. I think they're a game and a half out.
Here. The Mets are currently a game and a half out from the 6th spot. Atlanta has a 6th spot right now. Padres and D-backs are tied. They're 4 games up on Atlanta, and they're 5.5 games up on the Mets. So
that's why 3 out of 4 matters.
It does. I mean, the Mets come here and they take 3 of 4 from you. It's like, what is that?
3.5 games. They'd be 3.5 games behind the Padres with over a month to play.
Yeah. So
with a tiebreaker,
it's a big series. It's a big series this weekend for sure. To me, I have no faith in the Giants. St. Louis, they're done. Chicago, they're done. It's 4 teams for 3 spots. Would you agree?
It's 4 teams for 3 spots. 100%. Yeah, I do agree. Next question.
Should college football move up its season to a full slate of games during week 0?
I never understood this. Why do they do this, John?
Week 0 is basically it's like the Hawaii exemption. Hawaii's allowed to play 1 additional game because they have the additional travel. So Hawaii can always play 1 additional game, and teams that play Hawaii could always play 1 additional game as well and play in week 0, but now there's additional exceptions. So the problem is it's kind of like dipping your toe in the water to start your season. Like imagine if the NFL didn't have a full slate of games its first weekend. They just had the Brazil game and the Thursday game. People would love it, But you'd be like, where are the rest of the teams?
Right.
I think you go all in on week 0 because that gives you 2 weeks before the NFL. If you play week 0 and you play, quote-unquote, week 1, the NFL still hasn't started. Why wouldn't you move it up, especially with the expanded playoff, which is additional weeks now on the back end? I say move the thing up. We all want more football, right?
So I'm just going to look here right at quote-unquote week 1.
That's the full slate.
Week 1 schedule is way better than week
100
0
games. Yeah.
So I'm just looking here at the top 25.
There's a couple good games.
Yeah,
Obviously, Clemson
Georgia.
is the number 1 game there. West Virginia, Penn State
Yep.
is another.
Florida, Miami.
That's a big game. Yep.
Yeah, Notre
Yep.
Dame, Texas A&M.
That's a huge game.
So
there's a handful of big games week 1.
there is. It would just be nice if the NFL season kicked off with one of those games instead of college football season kicked off with one of those games.
That's what they're pretending like Florida State, Georgia Tech is a marquee game. Of course, it's not. By the way, that Sunday of week 1 also includes USC and LSU, and I think that game is in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
USC and LSU on Sunday.
I saw some promotion for
signage,
it.
yeah.
We talked to some people that were talking about that at Allegiant Stadium.
Yeah.
So, if they did that, I would be way more interested in week 0. I said a midday matchup. To me, week 0 kind of feels like the Monday, Tuesday play-in games for the NCAA tournament, where it counts, but I don't really care.
That's fair. That is fair. I agree with that. Next question.
Do you guys think Joey Votto is a Hall of Famer?
We were talking about this last night at dinner.
We talked over dinner about this.
By the way, we had
some very good food.
No, I'm not kidding. Some of the best pizza that I've ever had.
It was really good.
And it was very nice surprise.
Yeah, we didn't know. We just kind of went for a walk. I mean, we're downtown. We didn't know.
This place is called Pizza Rock. And
I was going to say Rock Pizza.
No, Pizza Rock.
Okay.
And it's won a bunch of pizza awards.
Yeah.
And I understand why, but we were sitting down eating pizza last night, delicious pizza.
They had the full slate of like Detroit, Chicago, New York, like any type available in the country they had.
And we were talking about the Joey Votto Hall of Fame discussion, and I think we both came to the conclusion, like, I think he's in. I think he's a Hall of Famer. He's put together a pretty damn good resume. And what was the line that you said that you saw somewhere, that Joey Votto is going to be the face of the new generation of Hall of Famers?
Yeah, the future of the Hall of Fame is going to look a lot more like players like Joey Votto, where the advanced analytics are the difference. There's going to be less players with 500 home runs.
Yes.
And more players with 920 OPSs, if that makes sense.
Guy's a career 290 hitter.
With a 920 OPS. Which
career
is really
920
high.
OPS. He's got an MVP under his belt, 6-time All-Star.
Yeah. Very good career.
Very good career. I mean, he is Mr. I mean, obviously, besides Johnny Bench, and if people still celebrate, Pete Rose in Cincinnati,
They definitely do. Cincinnati.
He is the new face of the Reds. He is on that Mount Rushmore of Reds players. Would you agree?
Yeah, I don't think he makes it on the first ballot, but I think he is clearly a Hall of Famer. I do think he will be in, and I think he's deserving. The numbers are changing. There's going to be less 3,000 hits, less 500 home runs. Players don't play 162 games anymore.
No.
There's going to be more players like Joey Votto moving forward than we've seen in baseball previously, would be my guess. Next question.
And he's never been linked to steroids.
Well, that is a huge part of it. It's a huge part of it.
How many more games do you think Tatis will play this year?
I'm going to say 20.
It's a big number.
Now, I say 20 because I think he's going to return first week of September. I'm going September 6th versus the Giants that Friday night. And that would be 20 games.
You know what? Because I don't want to take an under on that. Because I want to bet on him. I'll go with you. I'll just say the same thing. I don't want to take an under. I don't want to be like, I think he only plays 10. I think
wanted
he's
to play every game remaining.
I think 20 is realistic. I think 10, you're setting yourself up for failure if he only has 10 games. And I think anything more than 20 is like, well, how's that even possible? So I'm with you. I think 20 now is realistic.
How many games has he played this year so far?
He basically played every day until he missed the time. I'm going to guess. Don't tell me 2 months out. I'm going to say he's played 60 games.
He's played 80 games.
80?
Yeah.
That's a big number.
It's a big number. He played almost every day leading up to his injury.
I didn't know it was that many.
And
he's missed 2 months.
Yeah. So
they haven't played it all the last 2 months with the All-Star break and the off days.
You can get 100 games under your belt. not the best,
but not the worst, considering where it was a month ago.
I just hate looking at his baseball reference page because there's a bunch
80,
of
59,
84, 59,
80.
did not play because of PED suspension and injury,
Yeah.
130, 141, 80 this year. Like, it sucks.
We're giving away Def Leppard tickets on the other side as Mike Palm from Circa Sports swings by as well. We'll give away Def Leppard tickets on the other side. Jason Horwitz is the voice of the Raiders. We're in Vegas. He'll join us at 4:30. It's Jon and Jim. Back here at Circa in Las Vegas. The NFL season, hard to believe, is only 2 weeks away. In fact, Jason Horwitz, voice of the Raiders, is going to join us coming up in 15 minutes. We're in Vegas, right? Vegas will play tomorrow night against the Niners here at Allegiant Stadium. Mike, you were kind enough to join us maybe a couple of weeks ago, Mountain West Media Days.
I tried to tell you the Padres. I tried to tell you.
You told us they're going to take off, right?
I'm telling you they're going to take off. The lineup's got to score some runs.
And they're doing exactly that. They're one of the best teams in baseball in the second half, if not the best. And they're
I want to bet the Dodgers to finish third in the West. Is that possible?
Is that available downstairs?
No, but we should make that.
You should make.
Right?
Honestly, you should.
The Dodgers are not winning a playoff series.
I like that
from
hot
Mike
take.
Palm's.
I like that hot take.
Our listeners in San Diego.
That. I like that.
What?
Anything bad against the Dodgers, we take.
Isn't that what's happened the last 2 years?
They got Flaherty, but what's their playoff rotation? Flaherty, Kershaw. They got to hope Kershaw's going to be healthy.
And Buehler hasn't been great.
They say Yamamoto's coming back.
Buehler may not pitch in baseball.
Michael Kopech has been really good for them in the bullpen, though.
It's nice.
It's nice.
That's nice.
Yeah.
But they have no rotation. The same thing as last year.
I know.
They rented Fat Lance Land. How did that work? They don't have.
I love some Mike Palm.
I love
go
off
on the Dodgers.
It's a joke.
You just go off on the Dodgers. We're gonna go off.
It's a joke.
Yeah, just crap on the Dodgers.
How do you feel about Padres 12-1 right now to win the World Series? That's what
I got him at 40. So
you got him at 40. You probably could have gotten 40-1 within the last month, right?
I think you probably might have got him more than that, but like a week before the All-Star break, right? I mean,
wow. You have him at 40-1 to win the World Series right now.
Win the World Series.
Wow.
I like
him.
I like that. I like him. I think, I tell you, the Brewers are going to be a tough out. I don't care. They're a very well-coached team. You're going to argue. That's the first 2 games he's kind of blown the bullpen. But Peralta's a no-hitter through 92 pitches. They pull him. Do you know Peralta hasn't pitched in the 7th inning this year? Something wrong there. Colin Ray is really good.
This is great.
Yeah, but the Brewers will be a tough out. Diamondbacks, look, they're surging with the Padres, right? They're playing. They are the defending National League champions, and the Phillies will still probably be a tough out too. I'm not a Nola guy. People say, I said, you want to know how many runs Aaron Nola's going to give up today? Just if you know how many the Phillies are going to score, that's your answer, right? If they score 5, he gives up 6. That's how I feel about Nola. I still think Wheeler's really good, but Padres are very, very live.
All right, so we got Mike Palm, Circa Sports, with us here right now. Padres and Mets, by the way, tonight downtown at Petco Park. We could talk about that for the next 10 minutes.
We really could.
We should probably talk about
right.
And
I need you to break down every single team in the wild card and the picture.
What else?
Playoff picture.
Is there any value in Jackson Merrill? Do you have Jackson Merrill Rookie of the Year downstairs or not?
He's the favorite. Yeah, he's
the favorite.
Okay, yeah. So is that? How do you feel about it?
I don't know, because I think the numbers suggest that maybe Skeens starts the last one now that they're kind of out of the race.
Good point.
But what if they let him pitch? Why would they, though?
Yeah, I don't understand why they would long term.
I mean, I mean, if it was my vote, I'd vote Skeens.
We were loving you, Mike.
I'm Mike, huh? I mean,
yeah,
why Skeens?
What? Because I think Merrill's sample size is short, and I know Skeens missed the first month, but I think what he's done as a rookie, and I think he's gotten better and better and better. He came in trying to strike out everybody. I think. They say he's leaking. He gave up 4 runs to the Dodgers.
Right.
I mean, he's been very, very consistent throughout the course of the whole year. I don't think there's any value on betting either of them at this point. I mean, they're both like even money.
Right.
So, but how the market changed in 3 weeks.
Oh my God!
I don't know if I've ever seen a market move like that.
It was almost like you were taking Skeens off the board at one point because it's such an inevitability.
He was 100-1 favorite, right? Yeah. And now he's a small dog.
It's amazing.
Right. Jackson Merrill has this last month, what he's done. The line, that's a crazy move. It's a crazy move.
Bobby Witt's going to hit 500 for 3 months and has no shot.
Don't get Jim started. Don't get.
I
Jim
love
the best season ever that won't win a Cy Young. I say.
I love me
MVP.
some Bobby Witt. John hates how much I talk about Bobby Witt.
Let's talk about Bobby Witt. Well, because I don't want to talk about Bobby Witt. I want to talk about Jackson Merrill. And you're right. If Bobby Witt's doing it in New York, it's a different story. But he's not doing it in New York.
And also, by the way, Judge is hitting 380 over 100 games. He's going to hit
65. Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
No doubt.
Speaking of the Royals, what they need to do is put Seth Lugo on the IL for 10 days.
Why?
Let his arm. He's 30 innings more than he's ever pitched. And it's like, did you watch him in Minnesota? The ball has.
We watched him last year in
San Diego. Radio show. What are you doing?
He had a tough first year in San Diego, but he wasn't pitching the American League. Look, the Mets misused him for a decade. Oh, he was a 7th inning guy. Yeah. He was a starter. He was an 8th inning guy. It's like what the Dodgers did with Maeda all those years, right? He was wherever they put him. He almost won the Cy Young. I had him at 150-1 that year to win the Cy Young. Of course, unanimous in Cleveland. I did make some money betting it the other way with Bieber, but that's another team, smoke and mirrors. I think
you looking for a radio show.
Mike coming in hot.
I'd like to.
I mean, you should have one.
a nice house in Coronado. If you can
us
do
too.
it, I mean, that's all. I'll be neighbors with Orsillo. I don't care.
Perfect.
It's okay.
And Manny
I
and Machado's there.
Well, no, I
you're
don't
you're
care
on the
about
Padres
that, but-
broadcast as much as Manny Machado is.
The walk-off
Seriously.
killed us.
Yeah,
the
the
walk-off.
walk-off-
Second quarter was the walk-off.
No, you didn't.
You know what that
It's
package
amazing.
is?
I
The
know.
The
package is
greatest
unbelievable.
package in the
We
history
way,
of
way
any package.
overspent on this damn package.
Dude, it is.
The airfare, the suite, the stadium swim. I mean, my God.
It's the best package.
It's like a $20,000 package, and it happened like 5 times in 2 weeks.
Seven times
this year.
Unbelievable.
Let's talk some NFL. Okay, we've got
NFL.
obviously.
You got a team? You got the Chargers now?
No, we're
Yeah.
no.
Don't say the Chargers.
It's a talk show.
He does.
No, they care?
Honestly, I
From
mean,
a
it's fair
standpoint of
question.
where the NFL was in that town to where it is now, it's a Padres town.
Mike,
It
you
is
never see
100%
anyone wear
Padres.
nobody wears
No.
Chargers
Clipper?
gear.
No,
No?
no,
Okay.
no. We're a Padres
We're all
house.
Padres.
Yeah.
And nobody wears
You're an
Chargers.
Aztec.
And Aztec.
Yes. Town. Aztecs town.
All right, let's talk Circa Million, Circa Survivor. What is happening right now? Let's talk Circa Million. We're in. Jon and Jim, San Diego
Good,
Sports
because
760.
We're gonna win
be
all
short.
the money.
We're gonna
No,
be
I don't
short.
think you're going to be short
What are
anymore.
you
We got
talking
one
about?
entry.
One. How about 1,100? And you'll get us to 6. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over.
Which is what you guys are doing?
It's the third straight year we guaranteed $6 million, and we won't get there. Now Derek doesn't like that narrative, but I mean, what are we doing here?
Next year, you
Just
should
keep doing
guarantee
it. I like
16.
it.
So no Survivor entries, just $1 million.
Well, we're in for $1 million, but I
Just
said on the
$1
way
million.
out we
Get
might
a
do
Survivor.
Survivor.
Come on,
Why
it's so
not?
fun. If you have a
Why
deep run,
not?
it's the time of
I
your
mean,
life.
we got the money to spend, right?
You guys
It's
have nothing
fine.
but money. You got a low cost of living there in La Jolla. You'll
Very
be
low
fine.
cost. Yeah, my
You'll-
wife will
you'll
love
be
this.
fine. But the homeless are taking over. I listen to Bill Walton everywhere.
is
They're
happening?
stealing the
R.I.P.
packages, the Amazon packages.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I don't know if
Go
that's
ahead now.
San Diego specific. All right, Circa Million, 126 ways to win. Mike Palm, Circa Sports, is with us. We are off the rails
We
right
are
now.
completely off the rails.
Circa
I love it.
Survivor, $10 million guaranteed. Sell our listeners on Circa Million over Circa Survivor. I kind of like it because you play week in and week out. That's why I signed up
So
for
I'm
it with Jim.
gonna give you a Del Mar reference. Is that Del Mar?
track?
You guys know about
This guy lives in Del Mar.
They got a little. They have a Pacific Classic. When Cigar got beat, and it ended his 16-race win streak in the Classic.
We
Because-
remember it well.
Do you remember it well?
I don't.
Like
Well,
yesterday.
he got so concerned with that horse Citation getting out to a big lead, and then Darren came with Nakatani. Anyhow, Bill Mott got up after the race, who was Cigar's trainer, and he said, "There's a million ways to lose a race. There's only one way to win it." Well, in Survivor, there's only one way to
Fair.
win it, but in millions, there's 126 ways to win the win.
Right.
If I told you, people say, "Oh, it was 70% right to win first place in the $1 million."
What about 100?
That's nice. But what about the quarters?
Yeah.
We give away 300,000 every quarter. If I told you two guys in the course of the year for 1 4-week stint, you could go 18-2 or 17-3. Do you think that will happen? Get hot for 4
Padres
weeks?
have done it.
Do you
I
think?
mean,
Well, if you can and you do it in the right time,
Yes.
you're going to get a part
Get
of
on
the
a
quarter.
heater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what makes the contest very interesting. So that's my sales pitch on the millions.
Yeah, just fade Jim's Niners all October
You know
long.
what, John?
Just kidding.
I don't want to talk about that. Right?
Well, they have a tough schedule.
They do, and they also have the letdown after a Super Bowl loss, and probably one of the most heartbreaking Super Bowl losses in the history of
Was
Super
that-
Bowl losses.
Was that heartbreaking?
I don't want to talk about it.
Mike,
I think the division's very tough.
It's very
I
tough.
think Arizona's a little sneaky too.
I think the Rams could potentially be one of the better teams in the NFL if they stay healthy.
I think
But
they'll
their
miss Donald. I still
their
think they'll
defense
miss
will be a
Donald.
struggle,
Yeah,
but their
yeah.
offense, I think, will be better.
Everybody's high on Seattle. McDonald going to Seattle, a new voice there. I think it's a really tough division. I don't think there's really
tough.
a weak team.
we're going to talk to Jason Horwitz in 5 minutes, voice of the Raiders. Any shot at anything this year in that division? Could they squeak the postseason in any capacity?
Gardner Minshew.
Just give Kansas City the 1 seed again and start the
It's
playoffs.
done.
Stop
I
it already.
I agree.
I
All right.
The
I'm trying to
Chargers
sell something.
look at Harbaugh's an instant results guy, but that roster is not good.
No.
Okay, it's not good.
Nope.
And I just want somebody to tell me. Now, I come from Iowa, watch a lot of Big Ten football. Tell me what you saw in watching Aiden O'Connell, either at Purdue or the Raiders, that says he's an NFL quarterback.
He's not.
I don't
He's
think
not.
anything.
You got a Band-Aid. I love Gardner Minshew. He's a great guy. We've had beers with him. He's a Band-Aid. He's a Fitzpatrick.
Nice
Good
name
for
drop.
3 or 4 weeks. So just give him the division. The Broncos defense is no good.
No trust in Bo Nix.
I don't know. All these people now who are pimping Bo Nix had nothing good to say about him in his 9 years in college, right?
Agreed.
Was it only 9?
I mean,
That was it?
Mike, we need to run. Jason Horwitz is going to join us on the other side. Mike Palm, Circa Sports. Get here. Sign up for Million or Survivor. More info at circasports.com. You're welcome anytime. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks,
We'll be
Mike.
back on the other side. Jason Horwitz, voice of the Raiders, next. All right, we have great news for homeowners. Hey, guys, it's Schaefer. Mortgage rates, you've seen it. They're tanking. My friends at Loan Pronto have rates that start with a 4. This is the best rate in years. Listen, if your current rate is over 6%, you can dump it and lower your house payment big time. Loan Pronto has locked in folks recently at 4.99% APR. That's right. Whether you got your loan last week, last month, or last year, it's time to call Loan Pronto, even if you're in the process with another lender. Stop now and call Loan Pronto. You can ask about their zero-cost rate reduction home loan. You can lock in a lower rate with no closing costs in a matter of days, almost no paperwork, usually no appraisal. And if you act now, you're going to skip not just one house payment. You can skip your next 2 house payments. Call now. Here's the number. 619-207-4336. They're going to give you a rate quote in minutes with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees like those other guys. Again, 619-207-4336 or loanpronto.com. That's 619-207-4336. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781. On approved credit, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
All right, this update is brought to you by Mattress Firm. Padres and Mets start a 4-game series tonight at Petco Park. Dylan Cease on the mound for the Padres. 6:40 first pitch there. Other news with the Padres, Fernando Tatis Jr., according to Mike Shildt, will start hitting in the next couple days. Today he was out in the outfield doing sprints at about 70%. Other news in baseball, Joey Votto, he has officially retired from Major League Baseball after 17 years with the Cincinnati Reds. And the Mariners fired their manager today, Scott Service. It's Mattress Firm's best sale of the year, Labor Day sale. Save up to $900 on select adjustable mattress sets from Stearns and Foster, Tempur-Pedic, and Sealy. Plus, get up to $300 instant gift for pillows and more.
All right, Jon and Jim back with you. Circa in Las Vegas here until 6 p.m. Of course, we're getting ready for Padres and Mets downtown at Petco at 6:40 game 1. Right here on San Diego Sports 760. Preseason football is tomorrow night, in fact. Tomorrow night in Vegas, Jim's Niners against the Raiders. So let's start, Jason, just with, I guess, the quarterback situation, obviously, with Gardner Minshew being named the quarterback. What are the expectations here for Gardner? And thanks for hopping on.
Well, appreciate it, guys. Hope you're enjoying Circa. I think the expectations are that Gardner is the guy that gets them off to a fast start, and Gardner is the guy that will protect the ball. I think they have been very clear since the beginning. They wanted someone to hop on and say, hey, look, this is my team. I'm the one who's the best guy for the job. That never really happened. They kind of went back and forth. There was no clear-cut winner. But Gardner Minshew's never been a heavy turnover guy in his career. I think they like his ability to get outside the pocket, although they'd like to keep that a little bit more under wraps. And you put all those things together with the defenses they're going to face in the first 4 weeks, you know, Bosa and Mack on one side, the Ravens, the Browns, those are 3 of the 4 defenses they're going to face early. And I think they thought that Gardner Minshew gives them a better chance to get off to a better start throughout the first quarter of the season.
How has it been calling Raiders games here? I mean, in the NFL now, calling games for an NFL team, how has that been for you?
It's awesome. I mean, it's awesome on a lot of levels. First of all, stadiums are awesome. You are traveling with an NFL team. There's something we've all grew up watching and loving about the NFL. You know who the stars are, and the storylines are just all over the place every single week. And then to join a franchise like the Raiders, it's alumni weekend here this weekend here in Las Vegas, and there are somewhere between 230 and 250 Raiders, and they live by the whole once a Raider, always a Raider thing. And the Davis family, particularly the last 10 years or so, Mark Davis has done a phenomenal job treating alumni. And I didn't grow up a Raiders fan, guys. I grew up in the Midwest. I grew up in Michigan. I was I knew about the Raiders. I grew up as a kid loving Bo Jackson and Tecmo Bowl with Marcus Allen and all of that. But the moment I got hired and I kind of dove in, it has been all accurate. Everything they said about what players say about this organization, it has been true, and I have loved every part of it.
Jason Horwitz is with us right now, voice of the Las Vegas Raiders. Of course, you can hear him right here on San Diego Sports 760 throughout the season. So, yeah, preseason tomorrow, but you turn your attention. You look at the start of this schedule here. It feels like week 1 is important, isn't it, for both the Chargers and the Raiders with that week 2 game looming in Baltimore for Las Vegas. How do you look at that opener from both the Vegas perspective and I guess LA's as well?
It's interesting because I've had it said a lot over the last couple of weeks because I didn't really focus on it once the schedule came out, but a lot of people who cover this team on a day-to-day basis have focused on it. They aren't really looking at it as a one-game opener. They're looking at it as a package deal because it's Chargers and Ravens, but more than that, it's Harbaugh and Harbaugh. Right. And so it's kind of like, 2 games with 2 teams and 2 coaches who are going to share information and, whatever works against the Raiders week 1, you better believe the Ravens are going to do it in week 2. But I think, I think for the Raiders, winning week 1 is really important. It's Antonio Pierce. It's a new era. They have brought in this attitude, this swagger. The Raiders and Chargers, since the Raiders moved to Vegas, are 4-4. So both these teams have been even. I think it's interesting that for Tom Telesco, now as the new GM, his first game is against his old team. I know he didn't hire Jim Harbaugh, but you get the point. He knows all about those players and all that stuff. So I think it's really interesting. And then for Jim Harbaugh, in the Chargers, Justin Herbert coming back from the injury. He's also been injured here in training camp. They let go of a lot of their offensive parts that you've come to know over the last few years. So it's kind of a way to see what the new Chargers offense is going to be. And there's going to be a lot once we get to week 1. Like a lot of the storylines, as people get looked aside for week 1 are going to be about the Chargers. Jim Harbaugh won the national championship and coming back to the NFL. I think everyone's going to expect they're going to win because people just assume that Harbaugh is going to be really good and the Chargers are going to be good. So if it goes the other way and the Raiders win week 1, you have a totally different narrative coming out of it.
Antonio Pierce, you mentioned, like last year he was the interim head coach, and then they hired him to be the full-time head coach in the offseason. But a lot had to do with him becoming the head coach was the team backed him more than I think you've ever seen a team back a head coach to get him the head job, especially Max Crosby. How do you see it with him being now the full-time head coach in his first full year going forward here? Like with him, the expectations on him to, really take what the player said about him and prove them right.
Oh, and the fan base too, right? Like how often do you hear a fan base chanting an interim head coach's name? But you go back to week 18 and the Raiders beat Denver. And, we talked about it on the broadcast, like you hear them chanting AP, and he acknowledged it and was, going crazy with the crowd after they beat the Broncos by 2 touchdowns. So, it's kind of a hand in hand. He really is feeding into the Raider Nation and they are responding to him. So those things are kind of working together, which is great. The players absolutely back him. And then, we're lucky enough to get to spend time around the team, the players, the coaching staff, and a little bit more, obviously, behind the scenes and all access than everyone gets. And he's got a really interesting psychology aspect to this. A lot of great businesses in all over the world, the people who run the companies have a great feel for their employees. And I would say Antonio Pierce has a great feel for the individuals. He treats them differently than old school football would have you believe, and they respond to him. And I think that's why you're seeing that backing. It's kind of put together with what the players dealt with the 2 years before that, but they certainly have responded to him because I think he cares about making sure that they are put in places where they can succeed.
Jason, final one for me just has to do with tomorrow. Obviously, it is the preseason. Every team's trying to stay healthy, but what are you looking for tomorrow as the team looks towards the opener of the season?
Yeah, it's a little different. Last week the Raiders played all of their starters with the exception of the ones that were hurt, and all the way to halftime. For the most part, Max Crosby, Christian Wilkins didn't play that long, but everyone played who was healthy, and the Cowboys didn't play anybody who were potential starters. This week, the Raiders aren't playing anybody and who's going to be a potential starter. And the Niners, at least from what Kyle Shanahan has said, is going to play a bunch of their starters. So, it's a little bit different. The perspective of who's going to play and, what the teams look like and how it's going to go are a little bit different. But there's still a few roster spots up for grabs, right? And I think that's the important part. The Raiders have they're trying to figure out some of the defensive line. They're trying to figure out a couple of guys in the secondary, maybe on the interior part of the offensive line, and maybe a wide receiver spot or two. So you put all those things together, and not that everything's going to come down to the last game of the preseason, but it's one last look for the fan base to kind of look at this and be like, okay, I understand what that guy's here, and maybe he'll have an impact on this year as it goes forward.
For fantasy football purposes on my end, Brock Bowers, their first-round draft pick, a highly touted tight end out of Georgia, dealing with some injuries here. Well, what's the latest on him and his outlook for the start of the season?
Yeah, if the Raiders were in game week, he'd be ready to go. Like, he'd be listed as probable or questionable or whatever it would be, but he'd be ready to go. So, as Antonio Pierce told us today, he's like, and again, this kind of goes back to what I was just saying about his psychology element of this with the players. He's like, rookies have been grinding since they finished college. They are playing to the end of their college season. They are training like crazy for the combine and for the draft. Then they come right to mini camps and they're just going and going and going. And like, inevitably all rookies hit a wall. And he's like, I don't want our guys to crash. I want them to be fresh and go. And so, yeah, as he said to us in a meeting today, if you have an ouchie, I want to take it easy.
An ouchie.
And so I think Brock Bowers, again, as Antonio Pierce said in the press conference yesterday, he's got a foot thing. But I think all the excitement about Brock Bowers is warranted. And I think it's going to add a new dimension to the offense that fans are going to be excited about it.
Jason, appreciate you taking time for us. We're looking forward to hearing your call throughout the 2024 season. Once again, right here on San Diego Sports 760. Enjoy tomorrow and your preparations for the opener of the regular season. And thanks for hopping on here in San Diego.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
All right, great stuff. Jason Horwitz, again, really a really talented broadcaster, second year play-by-play voice, Las Vegas Raiders on the radio. You can hear him right here on San Diego Sports 760.
We all know about little ouchies here.
Little ouchies, man. Yeah.
When you say ouchie, my brain goes right to Shildt.
I think every time the word ouchie is said, money goes into a jar for Mike Shildt. Around the world, 10 cents goes into a jar, and Mike Shildt uses that for his team to get guys like Fernando Tatis Jr. back in the field. Do you like that?
Little ouchie?
Little ouchie? Thank you, Brian.
Little ouchies, yeah.
All right, here's what we're going to do, because we're going to hear from Mike Shildt coming up next. But caller 7 right now is going to see Def Leppard at Petco Park on Friday, August 30th in 8 days.
That's a good one.
Caller 7, you're going to see Def Leppard and Journey. It's the Summer Stadium Tour with special guest, the Steve Miller Band, Friday, August 30th at Petco Park. Caller 7 to 877-767-4760. That's 877-767-4760, 877-767-4760. 2 free tickets to see Def Leppard, Padres, and Mets 2 hours away. We'll hear from Mike Shildt. The latest on the progression of Fernando Tatis Jr. We'll hear from Mike Shildt coming up next on Jon and Jim.
Little ouchie?
All right, Jon and Jim from the Circa in Las Vegas until 6 p.m. J.R. Tolberg, friend of the show, Aztecs for Life, Aztec Link. We're talking San Diego State football with him. Coming up at 5:30, you just heard Marty there on Fernando Tatis Jr. There's more on Tatis today. Mike Shildt, right? With the media in the scrum on Fernando Tatis Jr. Let's get the latest here from Mike Shildt on Fernando Tatis Jr. and then react together.
Did anything change to get Fernando to the point today? Like any like healing specific stuff? Like did you get the MRI, or is it just like he's feeling good enough?
He's feeling good enough. I mean, it's 10 weeks. It'll be close to 10 weeks, in a short period of time. So it's been a while. So he's been healing, and there's probably going to be some more imaging take place just to create more understanding of the baseline. And again, I don't want to get into the medical space or the doctor space, but they clearly feel like there's been enough healing and rest to take place to allow him to progress and get his sprint work in and increase his baseball activities or get back to baseball activities.
What does it mean to him to be kind of be able to take those steps for the first time in a little bit?
Yeah, listen, he loves playing this game. He's chomping the bit to go compete with his buddies and be a part of what we're doing here. And he was excited about the fact we're ramping up baseball activities yesterday, and I'm pretty sure he's good to get out there and get a little sweat going.
10 weeks. That's hard to believe. It's been 10 weeks or close to it since Fernando Tatis Jr. was on the field. So hopefully that's enough time for him to have healed from what had occurred. I guess it was occurring, the stress reaction over weeks and weeks and weeks. But hopefully the 10 weeks has gotten him back healthy where he can get back on the field.
It's a long time. And thankfully they have overcome the loss of Tatis, because if they didn't, that'd be a problem. But since he went down, 80 games is a long. It was like right before the All-Star break, right?
It was, yep.
So right before the All-Star break, they started playing really good baseball, and then they had that stretch where they lost 6 to 7, and it's been just nothing but good baseball since. Take away yesterday's bad game, but overall, they played fantastic without him. And every single night, John, we're not sitting there on the wrap-up show or the next day on Jon and Jim being like, man, I could have used Tatis tonight. We haven't said that once. It's been mostly this team has been getting it done. They never give up. They always fight. They're getting contributions from everybody up and down that lineup. Oh, Jackson Merrill's the most clutch player in baseball. Jerkson Profar comes up clutch if you slight him. Manny Machado's back to being Manny Machado.
Sure.
Xander Bogaerts has been amazing since his return from the IL. They haven't. I don't think anybody's sitting there in that dugout or in that front office and in that clubhouse being like, man, we need Tatis back badly. But it's not. That's not a slight. That's a good thing because they've been winning a bunch of games.
I think you're spot on for the regular season. But they got to be thinking when you think about the dynamic at play to win in the postseason. Not like Tatis necessarily is a difference, but you're talking about teams like LA, the Phillies, the way the Brewers are playing. If you're lucky enough to get to a World Series, you need all hands on deck. It's hard to win at that high of a level and be without a player like Fernando Tatis Jr. It's doable. Braves won a World Series without Ronald Acuna Jr. It's not impossible. But to have the best chance, and bless you, to truly have the best chance, I think you need Tatis, not just Tatis. I think you need Musgrove, who they have right now. I think you need Darvish. I really do believe that. I think Darvish is like a keystone, a linchpin piece potentially with the issues they're having right now in the back of the rotation. And I don't know if we'll ever get more information on Darvish or if he's just going to show up in a rehab start all of a sudden at some point. But to really feel like this team is a World Series contender, a true World Series contender, show me Joe Musgrove, Yu Darvish, and Fernando Tatis Jr. in October. That to me would give me true hope and optimism that the team is capable of making a deep run in the postseason. I still think it's possible without one or a few of those players, but the most likely scenario to win at the high level is getting all hands on deck when it matters the most.
Yeah, and I'm trying to find what their record
has been without him. I think it's the 12-3, followed by the 1-6, followed by the 22-7.
Because you went on the IL on June 24th. So
let's follow that path. 12-3, and then 1-6 is 13-9.
Okay,
and then 22-7 is 35-16.
35-16. You're going to say that 35-16?
I think they're roughly 35-16, give or take a game or two. since he's gone out. That is a better than 667 winning percentage.
One of the best records in baseball, I would say.
Yeah, pretty good.
Okay.
But again, can you do it against the Dodgers in a best-of-5 series? Can you do it against the Brewers in a best-of-7 series? I'm just making it up. Because he's impactful. I mean, even if I don't, 35 and whatever we just said, that's great. But, there's a difference in August and October, as we all know.
There is. In October, I like David Peralta a lot. He's been great for this team. But Tatis, that's a matchup that every single day in the postseason, the opposing team is going to have to talk about and discuss before a game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
They're not talking about David Peralta. No offense, David Peralta. They're not saying, hey, if David Peralta's up in this situation and late in the game, we got this guy for him.
Yeah.
They're doing that for Tatis. And so with that, it makes it very important that he is returning and ready for the postseason. Like, he can't afford to miss it. He can't. He has to come back. He has to perform, or at least stay on the field, most importantly, and be ready to go once the postseason starts.
I think it goes both ways. It's like he can't afford it. You're so right. I mean, the narrative is being written on Tatis each and every day. He's got to go prove people wrong. And I don't think the Padres can afford not to have him.
Yeah.
It's like it goes both ways. For his narrative, for his legacies, there's a lot of time with Tatis. Things will change. But, like, you can't miss the 2022 postseason and the 2024 postseason if you're Fernando Tatis Jr. You got to be out there. And for the Padres to truly do something special, I think Fernando Tatis Jr. can be the difference between that happening or not. I hope I'm right. I hope Tatis gets back in there and he, quote-unquote, catapults them to do something special. We saw it in 2020, the postseason. He might have been the difference between them getting out of the round against St. Louis or not. They don't win that St. Louis series with that 2-home-run game.
By the way, if I'm doing this correctly, which I'm probably not.
Okay, you've done more math on it?
32-15 since he's been out.
Yeah, I don't know what we said. Something like that, though. We said 32 and
I'm just going from the day that he went on the IL, which is June 24th.
Well, you know what that winning percentage is? I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
It's over 667. So 32 divided by 47 is, Jim, 681.
Wow.
They've played 681 baseball without him. I still want it back.
I still want it back.
I still want it back. Yeah. I really do. All right, here's what we're going to do on the other side. We're getting you ready for Padres and Mets. J.R. Tolver swings by at 5:30. We have not one but two giveaways in the 5 o'clock hour, including coming up next. We'll give away 311 tickets for Sunday. This Sunday, we have 311 tickets at a great venue, the Cal Coast Credit Union Open Air Theater. We have tickets for Sunday to see 311. The latest from Petco Park is the Padres and Mets will meet in an hour and 40 minutes. J.R. Tolver at 5:30. It's going to be hour 3 of Jon and Jim from the Circa in Las Vegas next.
All right, this update is brought to you by Mattress Firm. Padres and Mets start a 4-game series tonight at Petco Park. 6:40 first pitch. Dylan Cease on the mound to start tonight for the Padres. Other news with the Padres today, Mike Shildt said that Fernando Tatis Jr. is progressing nicely. He's going to start hitting in the next couple of days. Tatis was in the outfield today, sprinting at about 70% according to him. And other news in baseball, Joey Votto, he announced his retirement yesterday from baseball, and the Mariners have fired their manager, Scott Service. It's Mattress Firm's best sale of the year, Labor Day sale. Save up to $900 on select adjustable mattress sets from Stearns and Foster, Tempur-Pedic, and Sealy. Plus, get up to a $300 instant gift for pillows and more.
Getting you all set for that drive home. Let's just start the show. Here's Jon and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? Final hour of Jon and Jim from the Circa in Las Vegas, where we are in Circa $1,000,004 for a chance to win $6 million in prizes. Now, the grand prize is $1 million. Me and Jim have already won that, but you can still enter and win something else.
Could you imagine?
$1 million.
Imagine if
for
we won.
pick'ems.
Imagine if we both won $1 million last night and we were this calm today.
Well, that wouldn't have happened, to be honest with you.
It would not have.
I mean, Circa is such a, we always are singing the praises of Circa, and we're coming here even when we're not part of San Diego Sports 760. You're here in your bachelor party.
I know.
We're here when we're here with friends. We've been here like 4+ times in the last 1 year. Now is the time, because the NFL season's 2 weeks away.
Yeah.
Circa $1,000,000, we're in. Circa Survivor, we're not in. To be honest with you, if our flight was an hour later, I'd consider getting in Circa Survivor.
Should we make our flight a little hour later?
A little longer.
No,
just to get in. I mean, I love the idea of Survivor because it's like everything's on the line.
I know.
Every game, you got like millions of dollars on the line. But get out here and enter, because once you enter, you can play from San Diego. That's what you need to know. So get here. We're in Circa $1,000,000. Play along with us. We're going to talk about it all season long. 5 picks each week against the spread. You get to play all season long. I mean, you make your entry, then you play all season long. Last place wins $100,000.
Ride the ride.
Sucking.
Ride the ride with us to see if we can suck to win $100,000.
Yeah, see if you can do worse than us. Get to Circa and try to win that $100,000 prize. All right, Padres and Mets will play game 1 of a 4-game series coming up at 6:40 tonight. I'm just trusting in Dylan Cease. That's what I'm deciding here tonight. Matt Waldron has not been good. Dylan Cease has, by and large, been really good. I'm going to trust in Dylan Cease tonight. By the way, Jared Tolliver is going to join us at 5:30. But I'm trusting in Dylan Cease here tonight to find a way to avoid that back-to-back losses, because the Padres haven't had it, knock on wood, in the second half. I'm trusting in Dylan Cease. I mean, it's a factual statement.
No, I know. I know. Going up against Luis Severino tonight, last outing, he pitched a complete game. Sorry, he pitched a shutout. Do you get...
Is it Luis or Luis?
Luis Severino?
It's Luis.
Did I say Luis Severino?
I thought you said Luis.
No.
Okay.
Luis Severino?
Yeah, it's Luis.
Yeah, I know.
Do you, as a broadcaster, because I've heard it different ways.
I don't jinx anything.
No, I'm not jinxing. I'm not talking about jinx. I'm talking about proper, termage.
Terminology.
Termage.
Someone give me a new...
Okay, yeah.
Termage.
Kermit. You're Kermit.
Cut that.
Do you say complete game shutout, or do you just say shutout?
No, shutout's the proper terminology.
Okay.
The proper terminology. They're so rare.
Right.
So a shutout is a complete game.
Correct.
It's like saying a grand slam home run. A grand slam is a home run.
Correct.
A shutout, by definition, is a complete game.
Correct.
So if Luis Severino threw a shutout,
yeah,
pitched a shutout, whatever,
that means he threw
all
9
9 or more. He threw 9 or more.
Okay, because I hear a lot. Oh, he threw a complete game
that's
shutout.
what people say.
I know. It's like
the proper terminology is he threw a shutout.
It is.
It is weird to hear that, though.
I mean, it's a baseball thing that it's a very sacred. Don't call.
Dude, hey, coach.
Yeah, don't call the manager coach. Don't call the clubhouse locker room. Don't call spring training, or don't call spring training preseason.
Yeah.
Don't call it training camp. Don't.
100%. There's a million. There's truly a million.
Don't call spring training games exhibition games.
Yeah.
There's so many things terminology wise that.
I'm trying to think the things.
Don't say it. Don't say it in baseball, because you'll get.
Oh, you know what I don't like?
You'll get called out for not knowing baseball.
70470. Start it with team. If you have any pet peeves when it comes to baseball, what you hear. Here's one I don't like. A 2 RBI base hit. I'm like, you mean like a 2-run single?
Yeah,
it's not a 2 RBI. It's not a 2-run batted in hit.
Yeah, 3-run
it's
double.
Like
2-run
he
double.
has 2 RBIs. He has 2 runs batted in.
Right.
He doesn't have a 2 RBI hit.
He had a 4 RBI grand slam.
No. It's like it's a 3-run homer, not a 3 RBI homer.
Yeah. No.
Is there anything you hate that you hear out there?
I don't hate it. I just cringe a little when I hear someone call Shildt coach.
Oh my! And we hear it sometimes in the audio. Yeah.
Or like spring training exhibition games.
Coach is the worst.
Or preseason.
The coach is truly like.
Yeah,
that's the one. Like you can't get away with that.
And like clubhouse locker room.
Yes, absolutely can't call it locker room.
No, it's the clubhouse.
Yeah.
Call it a stadium instead of the ballpark.
That's a good one, actually.
You're
right.
That doesn't bother
impact me as much, but Brent is right.
Because if you want to say it's technically a stadium, you can.
If it's multi-purpose.
Yeah.
Like if it was back in the day and the Niners and Giants have the same stadium, okay, it's a stadium. But once the Padres have their own and the Chargers have their own, then it's a ballpark. Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
This whole conversation started because Luis Severino is pitching tonight for the Mets, and his last time out, he pitched a shutout versus the Marlins.
Yeah.
He's pitched well of late. Actually, he's pitched okay of late. Just last game was like
really good.
Yep. And so do you think coming into tonight, I don't know how many pitches he threw his last outing.
Had to be a zillion, right? To go through 9 innings.
I can't find it, but I can't find it. But Luis Severino has had a
he's
decent
had a good
year.
Yeah, I was looking at his numbers earlier. He has had a good year. I mean, he's a guy that's been around, obviously.
I mean, he's 8-2 or 8-6 with the 3.91 ERA. Pitched 142 2/3 innings so far. Do you see how many pitches he threw?
Yeah, I should. He threw 113.
Okay,
he
so
threw 113 pitches.
One less than Dylan Cease in his no-hitter.
Wow.
So,
yeah, I mean,
it's not. I don't deem that to be like a lot.
No, but in today's game, it's a.
I
good
thought you were going to
number.
say 130. I'd be like,
No,
whoa!
but even today, anytime I see anything over 110, I'm like, wow. Listen, I'm just going to take Cease. Yeah, Severino's a very quality big league arm that, to your point, has had a nice year and is coming off a really good outing. But Dylan Cease has been elite, hasn't he? I mean, I don't have the full numbers in front of me, but he had like a five-start stretch where he let 4 combined hits. Like his stuff plays. On the year, he's got a 3.46 ERA, but more recently he's been better than that.
He's last 7 starts, he's got a 1.37 ERA.
Thank you.
5-1, 39 in the third innings pitched. He's struck out 48 with a .81 WHIP in his last 7 starts.
And what should I say then? Is that good?
Is that good?
I mean, he's been that good. And this is the night where this is why you traded for him. That whole stopper mentality, that whole stopper, what is the difference in an ace and a 2?
Mm-hmm.
Like an ace is going to win a game like this. I mean, when you need to continue on that trajectory, you're 0-3 against the Mets, you're coming off an 11-4 loss. An ace wins a game like this.
Now, I will say these numbers that I just read are a little skewed because that involves the no-hitter and it involves the previous games before that where he gave up like 1 and 2 hits.
But what's
his last 3 outings, John? He hasn't pitched through 6. We know the wonky Pittsburgh start where the Pirates manipulated the weather system to kick him out of get him out of the game where he only pitched 1 inning.
I was worried about that impacting him on the other side, and it has.
On the other side, Colorado, his last time out at Coors Field. Coors Field is you kind of just throw it away a little bit almost, but 5 2/3, 3 earned runs, 5 walks. His previous start versus Miami, 5 innings, 2 earned runs there.
That worried me. The Pittsburgh thing. I was livid that day. You're in Switzerland.
I was mad for you when I found out.
I was livid that day.
I'm
like, don't throw this guy off. He's pitching as well as anyone in baseball. But here was my other thought. You have the Pittsburgh start. Okay, did that mess with him? And who knows? I mean, hopefully he's dominant tonight. Mm-hmm. The other thing is, how do you rebound from throwing a no-hitter? Elevated pitch count, not crazy, like you said, not 130 pitches, but still 114 teens. So, yeah, big number. Plus, you have just thrown the first no-hitter of your career. Mm-hmm. What is the other side of that like? And, again, it's been wonky to your point. A 1-inning outing, not his fault. Pitching at Coors Field, always wonky. This is the game. Home, 45,000 people, kicking off a series against a playoff contender. This is the game where Dylan Cease doesn't need to throw a no-hitter, but needs to give you the 6+ innings and give you a chance to win the game.
And it's a good matchup tonight. It is.
It's a really good matchup.
There's a lot of things, a lot of storylines with this series with the Mets. You got Joe pitching tomorrow. You have a really good pitching matchup tonight with Severino and Dylan Cease. You got that clown Jesse Winker returning back to Petco Park after his, crazy celebration yesterday. Timeout what?
Was Matt Waldron optioned?
Huh?
Kevin Acey's just published an article, and the second bullet point is Matt Waldron optioned. Matt Waldron was optioned to AAA El Paso on Wednesday, he writes, but he was optioned to.
That's right. AJ Cassavell.
When was that?
The first tweet I see of this.
Did it just come out?
Dennis Lynn also reported that.
But was it within the last few minutes or longer ago?
Padres posted this at 5:06.
Okay, so Matt Waldron's been optioned.
Logan Gillespie has been sent down to El Paso.
You know why this makes sense? Not just because of his struggles. You need innings. 18 games in 18 days. Now you get innings. You don't wait 4 days now for Waldron to throw, right?
Yep.
You get Logan Gillespie right now. You need to have available arms to get through the stretch. And he's going to be so. But what does the other side of this look like? He doesn't then come back in 5 days. That's not how it works. Is the other side of this the Vasquez's or the up to pitch in that spot in 4 or 5 days?
His next scheduled start would be in St. Louis to kick off that road
trip.
He
can't start it now if he's been optioned, because you can't option him and then recall him within 5 days.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
Okay, here it is. Kevin Acey writing, it's expected the Padres will recall either Randy Vasquez or left-hander Omar Cruz. Okay. But, it actually, again, Waldron hasn't pitched well. You need innings over the next 4 days. Go find someone that can give you innings. Waldron hasn't pitched well.
Did you mention Omar Cruz?
Yeah, I just said left-hander Omar Cruz. So either left-hander Omar Cruz or Randy Vasquez will start in 4 days for the Padres. Wow. Developing story with Matt Waldron, 26 starts into his year, option to AAA.
I'm fully convinced that we know Preller has a burner on Twitter, X. I'm fully convinced that, and he's called out Too Much Morton's before. I think he follows Too Much Morton's, because Too Much Morton's the other day on Twitter
said send him down and
said
call up Gillespie.
I'll probably give Waldron one more start maybe, but I think Cruz is a better option.
That's hilarious.
Omar Cruz is now is literally an option according to Kevin Acey.
Too Much Morton's can be the GM. I mean,
he probably is.
AJ can work for him. Maybe that's the AJ's burner.
Maybe it is.
That's hilarious. So, wow, significant storyline. Matt Waldron's been optioned. What a big day before the Padres have played. Fernando Tatis Jr. ramping up. Matt Waldron, who at one point this year had like a sub-3 ERA at the midway point.
Also, by the way, we are scoreboard watching here.
Yeah, we are
on Scoreboard Watch. Arizona, they do not play tonight.
Oh, that's a great watch.
Dodgers do not play tonight as well.
So a chance to gain a half game.
But you know what else we're watching, John? We're watching Paul Skeens starts. Paul Skeens is starting tonight for the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Pirates lead 6-0 in the top of the sixth, and Paul Skeens has gone 5 innings, allowing no earned runs, striking out 7, only walking 1.
Thanks for ruining the day, Paul Skeens. I'm trying, Jim, for letting us know.
I'm trying to pull a double jinx out of my butt.
All right, let's react on the other side to Matt Waldron being optioned down. So Matt Waldron's been optioned. What does that mean for the Padres on the other side? Plus, coming up next, we're giving away tickets. Actually, let's do it right now. We're giving away tickets to 311. I promise you we would. We've got a pair of tickets to 311, AWOL Nation, Neon Trees, this Sunday at the Cal Coast Credit Union Open Air Theater. Caller 5 at 877-767-4760 has 2 free tickets to see 311. Call right now. Caller 5, 877-767-4760. Again, 877-767-4760. You have 2 free tickets to see 311 this Sunday at the Cal Coast Credit Union Open Air Theater. For tickets and info, go to Ticketmaster.com. Matt Waldron's been optioned. J.R. Tolver joins us at 5:30. It's Jon and Jim. All right, hey guys, it's Jon and Jim, and we are coming up on one of the best times of the year. That's why we're here in Vegas, actually. We've got football season right around the corner. Obviously, the baseball postseason's coming up. With Underdog Fantasy, you can win, listen to this, 325 times your money just by choosing higher or lower on your favorite players.
Yeah, we've been playing Underdog Fantasy for a while now, John. It is super easy, super simple to play. All you got to do is download the Underdog Fantasy app on your phone and play higher or lower with two different players from two different teams. We've been playing with Manny Machado and Jackson Merrill a lot, and it's done very well for us.
There's no doubt about that. You can go to their mobile app or UnderdogFantasy.com. Sign up with promo code Jon and Jim, JONANDJIM. Underdog will give you a highly discounted pick to use in your first pick of entry, plus a 50% deposit match up to $1,000. Their best offer ever. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code JONANDJIM to claim your new customer offer of a gimme first pick and your deposit offer.
Must be 18 or older and present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms do apply. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org.
Hi, Jared Toll for Aztec for Life. Football is a week away. Saturday, like on San Diego Sports 760, a week from Saturday. Aztecs, Texas A&M Commerce. Be listening because in about, I'd say, 7 minutes, we'll give away tickets to see Dan and Shay. So be listening for your chance to win Dan and Shay tickets coming up in 7 minutes. We're reacting to Matt Waldron being optioned, which on one hand is a surprise because he's made 26 starts. On another hand is not a surprise. He has not been good. They're playing 18 games in 18 days by recalling Logan Gillespie. You get someone that can pitch right now where Matt Waldron wasn't going to be pitching until his next start 4 days from now.
And you also have to look at it like this is the most innings that he has pitched in his entire career. Maybe he does need a little bit of a break. I mean, they have been riding Matt Waldron all season long, really every fifth day.
Yeah.
And at one point, he was their best pitcher. He was relied on heavily, which, again, where would this team be without Matt Waldron this year? They would not be where they're at. But they got to kind of manipulate this to maybe give him a little bit of a breather before you get to September, where every single start and every single game is going to be just uber important. So I'm a little surprised just because of like the seeing it on paper, like the shock value, like, whoa, Matt Waldron option, because he's pitched every 5th day for this team this year. But you also have to realize, like, hey, maybe he needs a breather, and you're not going to put him on the IL.
No, I think it almost is. It's as much to do with needing to find innings than it is to specifically do with like yesterday for Waldron. The problem is Waldron did this to himself, if this makes sense.
Yeah, he did.
He didn't go deep into a game.
Yep.
They haven't had guys go as deep in games recently at times. That's anecdotal, but you get my point. And then you have someone like Sean Reynolds wear a lot of pitches yesterday. Well, who's available in your bullpen if you go through something similar again? And you have to have someone available. So it's like, if Waldron goes 7 innings yesterday, it was not being optioned.
No.
But he didn't go 7 innings, and he allowed 10 runs. And this is the logical move out of that. And now what do they do on the other side? We'll figure it out in 3 or 4 days. But for the here and now, they have Logan Gillespie. They don't have Matt Waldron. You're right. There was a 10 or 12 start stretch. It's like, where would you be without him?
Yeah, he's been fantastic.
He won him a couple of games they wouldn't have won, but now there's been this 5 or 6 start stretch where he hasn't been effective. So you can live to see the other side of it, and they'll have another option other than Waldron on the other side of it.
Either Randy Vasquez or someone else.
Omar Cruz,
the great Omar Cruz can make a start for this team. I just think that it's not something that we're like, oh, great, they demoted him because he had a bad outing yesterday. Good job, Padres. Not messing around this year. It's more than that. It's deeper than that. It has to do with innings. It has to do with in the middle of an 18 games, an 18 days stretch. He's pitched the most innings of his entire career. Maybe he's slowing down a little bit. He even said, we heard from him earlier in the show, like, there's no sugarcoating this. There's no positives here. I sucked yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And he's frankly sucked for all of August. He's not been good. So maybe get him a little bit breather here and get ready for September, because he's going to have to pitch in September.
Well, remember, rosters do expand, but you can only add now, is it 2 or 3?
It's not like it was where you can have like 50.
It's either 2 or 3, but think about it.
It changed a couple years ago.
One of them is a catcher. One of them is a reliever or a starter. So, like, they're calling up a pitcher, I promise you that, on September 1st.
Yeah.
In addition to whatever moves they're making here.
Yeah.
And that could very well be Matt Waldron. And you're right. Maybe you skip a start because it's the 22nd. You call him back up September 1st, and you kind of ease him back in.
And if you get you back,
that's along with Tatis, that's the other piece.
Yeah.
That's the big piece.
It is
a lot bigger than what we're talking about probably right now.
You get Darvish back. You get him. I would say no more than 4 starts for Darvish.
They're not. You're right.
No chance. I don't think they'd bring him back for 1 or 2 starts, to be honest with you. But for like 4 or 5, I think they would. I think as a group, along with Darvish, like, they got to talk about this whole thing. And I think they would come to the decision if there was a possibility to return and get you 4 or 5 starts, I think they would do it. But if there was only a possibility for 2 or 3, I don't know, because 2 or 3, you're not built up. You're going to take the 2 or 3 starts to build yourself up. And those 2 or 3 starts, you could be either playing for the division or home field advantage in the wild card,
or even to get into the postseason. Hopefully not that, but it is a good point. That, to me, the Darvish news, like, what the day it happens or it doesn't happen, but if it happens where they say Darvish is back, he's rejoined the team, that's the shot in the arm. Like, that is Tatis a true Tatis, but we kind of knew that this was always where they were trending. Of course, Tatis is, because Darvish is this complete unknown, and there are some that believe he is not going to return this year. If he does truly return, that to me is so massive for the clubhouse. Like, a guy that's been in this clubhouse now for years, the veteran, he's now 38 years of age. He's won at a very high level. Kind of a future Hall of Famer. He wouldn't be if you combine his Japanese numbers with his numbers in Major League Baseball. Like, he's on a Hall of Fame trajectory. Like, you get someone like that back, and I feel like that's really impactful potentially for the Padres. So we wait and we see who's going to make that start in Waldron's spot coming up. Luis Severino down at Petco Park. By the way, we're there tomorrow at the Naughty Barrel from 3 to 6 p.m. Hopefully you can join us tomorrow from the Naughty Barrel, 9th and Market. Great food and drink specials. We're broadcasting live from 3 to 6. Big Rich, TD, and Fletch will broadcast live as well tomorrow afternoon. So join us, San Diego Sports 760, free iHeartRadio app, and get to the Naughty Barrel. kick off your weekend with us downtown in San Diego. All right, J.R. Tolver is going to join us on the other side, the Aztec for Life. We're looking ahead to next weekend for San Diego State football, but I promise you this. We have tickets to see Dan and Shay. For the first caller to 877-767-4760, we have 2 free tickets to see Dan and Shay with Jake Owen and Dylan Marlowe. This is Friday, September 6th at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. First caller to 877-767-4760 has 2 free tickets to see Dan and Shay. 877-767-4760. For tickets and info, go to Ticketmaster.com. Friend of the show, Aztec for Life with Aztec Link. J.R. Tolver. We'll talk some San Diego State football next right here on Jon and Jim. All right, hey guys, it's Schaefer, and we are at Circa Las Vegas. We've been here for the last couple of days. What a trip. It has been a complete blast like it always is. It's paradise for sports fans. You need to get here if you've never been, or if you have been, make sure to set up another trip this summer or fall. It's a sports lover's dream. It's got the largest sports book in Las Vegas. We can attest to it. We just entered Circa Millions earlier today. They also have Stadium Swim. It's just spectacular. 6 incredible rooftop pools, massive outdoor video boards. They had the Padres on the big screen yesterday. They'll have them again here tonight. You can watch every Padres game at Stadium Swim. It's open 365 days a year. And here's the other good news. Circa is a 21-plus venue. There's nothing to worry about other than sports. And we've been telling you about the pro football contest in Vegas. We just entered Circa Million for a chance to win $6 million. They have Circa Survivor for a chance to win $10 million. 2 ways to win and no rake. Circa Survivor contestants select 1 team each week with no point spread. Last the longest to win it all with $10 million guaranteed. In Circa Million, we're hoping to win it. Make 5 picks against the spread each week for your share of $6 million guaranteed. They have quarterly payouts. They have full season payouts. You enter here in Nevada, but you can play from anywhere, including in San Diego. So visit circasports.com. That's circasports.com for details.
All right, this update is brought to you by Mattress Firm. Padres and Mets start a 4-game series tonight at Petco Park, 6:40 first pitch. Luis Severino on the mound for the Mets against Dylan Cease for the Padres. Padres have made some moves. They just moments ago, they have optioned Matt Waldron down to AAA El Paso and brought up Logan Gillespie, right-handed pitcher for the Padres. And other news with the Padres, Mike Shildt today saying that Fernando Tatis Jr. will be hitting next couple days here, start hitting for the Padres in the batting cage. And today he was out in the center field sprinting at about 70%. Other news in baseball, Joey Votto announced his retirement yesterday, and the Seattle Mariners fired their manager, Scott Service, today. It's Mattress Firm's best sale of the year. Labor Day sale, save up to $900 on select adjustable mattress sets from Stearns & Foster, Tempur-Pedic, and Sealy. Plus, get up to a $300 instant gift for pillows and more.
All right, Jon and Jim, final 30 minutes here from Circa in Las Vegas, where things are heating up. Football season is 2 weeks away. Of course, the pennant run well underway in Major League Baseball. Aztec football is 9 days away. That is hard to believe. No, but I will be. We have an Aztec for life. One of the greats, friend of the show, longtime broadcaster on San Diego State Radio Network broadcast, J.R. Topher. We have worked together, I think, for 8 years. He now heads up Aztec Link. They're doing some great work right now. I want to tell our listeners, and J.R. is going to talk about this as well, a lot like we talked about with the Mesa Foundation, where they were raising funds for NIL efforts. Aztec Link is doing the same thing right now, this 100-yard challenge. You can get more information by finding Aztec Link on social media or go to azteclink.com. They're trying to raise $100,000 in NIL efforts before the start of the season. They're well on their way, and you can support right now by going to azteclink.com. JR, first of all, thanks for hopping on. How excited are you? We'll talk about the initiatives with Aztec Link, but how excited are you? New era. We're 9 days out. You ready to rock and roll, my friend?
Oh, man, I'm so excited. You know, you get the goosebumps before you go to bed, but before Christmas when you're a kid and you wake up 2 or 3 times in the night checking the clock to see if it's time to open the gift. That's how I feel. I feel like the Senegal community is going to get a chance to open up a nice little Christmas gift come next Saturday when it comes time to play some Aztec football.
What was your reaction to Danny O'Neil getting the nod to be the starting quarterback?
I was surprised. And I think most people in the community, were surprised. Again, coming from high school to college is a humongous jump. I tell people all the time, I played in the NFL for 4 years and professional football for 6 years. The biggest jump is not college to pro. The biggest jump absolutely is high school to college. You got to grow up mentally pretty quickly. You're 18 years old playing against 23, 24, sometimes 25-year-olds in this COVID era, right? So the ability for that kid to come from the Midwest, graduate school early, enroll early, and figure out a way to not only perform on the field, but you have to know that there was a lot of things that wasn't happening on the field that gave Coach Lewis some confidence in the film room to earn the respects of his teammates. And again, you got a lot of guys on that football team that have played college football in a bunch of major ways. And as an 18-year-old true freshman, to figure out a way to become the first true freshman starter ever in the history of San Diego State, it surprised me, but I'm excited about it. I trust Coach Lewis and the way he's been able to develop quarterbacks and build offenses. And, if it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander.
J.R. Tolver's with us right now, the Aztec for Life, Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, talking about the opener, the Sean Lewis era. We'll talk about Aztec Link as well. We saw the news this week that Keenan Christian's going to miss some time, had surgery on an ankle. We know this is part of football. Obviously, injuries do occur. You hate to hear it. He's meant a lot to this program. He's been in college football for the last 4 or 5 years. But how do you feel about the group overall? Even in the absence of Keenan Christian, it feels like with the addition of Marquez Cooper, guys like Jalen Armstead and Cam Davis and Lucky Sutton, it still feels like they have more than enough. Do you see it the same way to start the year?
Yeah, man, that's probably the deepest position on the football team. I mean, the secondary, I think, is also shaping well to be one of the strong points. But if you look at offensively, that running back position is I think by far the deepest, most experienced, talented room on that side of the ball. And again, Keenan Christian, you know, I was so excited for him to really be able to come out and showcase his God-given talent. I mean, the kid can run like no other. And I think you get an offense like Coach Lewis' offense where it's built on going fast, creating space, attacking weaknesses in a defense. You get a guy like Keenan who is, you know, going to be the fastest guy on the field 9 times out of 10. And you give him the football, all he needs is a little bit of a seam to change the game. So very, 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 you know, sad for Keenan. But, you know, I've been watching him in real life. You know, I've seen him in person a couple of times, and I watched his social media, and you can tell he's just a fighter. You know, his whole thing is, hey, man, this happened. I'm going to get healthy. I'm going to get back out there, and hopefully he can be a tremendous benefit to the Aztecs down the stretch. But, yeah, as far as that running back room is concerned, you know, Marquez Cooper, the leading NCAA rusher right now, and Lucky Sutton, you know, a guy who's kind of been waiting in the wings for a few years. I think he's going to get an opportunity. Jalen Armstead had a tremendous year last year in what was a down year for San Diego State. I know he's chomping at the bit to get back out there. And for a freshman quarterback, you know, you're going to need your running backs to make a ton of plays and your offensive line to make a ton of plays to take the pressure off of you. I think that running back room is going to rise to the challenge.
What do you hope to see? Like, what do you want to see game 1 versus Texas A&M Commerce?
So that's a good question. I think the easy answer is we want to see some points on the board, right? Mm-hmm. I think San Diego State fans, myself included, it'd be phenomenal if those, you know, points came through the air. I think it's been a while since we've had an opportunity to really showcase the skill positions on the outside and the quarterback in a way that we've all grown up. I mean, that's how I grew up, watching Will Blackwell and Oz Hakeem and Billy Blanton just throw the football all over the field. But I think what I want to see from Texas Commerce is really what we saw, how we've seen San Diego State football win games over the past 10 years. How did they do that? They did it by dominating and being tougher than their opponent. That usually comes with the ability to run the football and stop the run. I still want to see that. And I think if you can run the football and stop the run, everything else becomes kind of icing on the cake. So if you're asking me, you know, as a wide receiver, they may take my wideout card away here, but I would love to see San Diego State come out and dominate Commerce up front, run the football for, you know, over 200 yards in that first game. Obviously figure out a way to have a high completion percentage, but I really want to see them dominate the game, dominate the time of possession, run the football really well. And if Danny can go out and have a turnover-free game, I think we're on our way for week 2.
JR, I want to get our listeners to do this right now. I want to have someone, if not multiple people right now, go to azteclink.com because you've got kind of a special offer going on right now for anyone that donates to the 100-yard challenge. Okay, at azteclink.com. If you contribute $16 or more, just $16 or more, you're going to send them a Be the Alpha, which is kind of the mantra of Sean Lewis t-shirt. Is that right? First 100 people that donate $16, azteclink.com, they're getting a t-shirt from you.
Yep. For first 100 donors, I think we're up to 56 or 57 donors last I checked that contribute over $16 to the campaign. I'm going to send you a Be the Alpha t-shirt. The Be the Alpha mantra is something that if you look up Coach Lewis, and this is something that he's lived by since his days at Kent State, it's actually a really, really, really cool story how he came to that. But yeah, the Be the Alpha mantra is going to be something that's going to live and breathe through this Aztec football program, just kind of like Aztec Fast. And yeah, if you donate $16 or more to the campaign, I will personally send you one in the mail so you have some Aztec gear to rock come game day.
How about that? He's going to personally send it to you. Start at San Diego State, now heading up the Aztec Link Collective, the 100-yard challenge going on right now. All you have to do is donate $16. You're walking away with a T-shirt. You're supporting San Diego State student athletes. Is there anything better than that? $16 or more right now, azteclink.com, azteclink.com, and you're going to walk away with a Be the Alpha T-shirt. JR, appreciate you as always. Looking forward to seeing you next Saturday. Can't wait for the opener right here on San Diego Sports 760. I cannot believe it's back. And thank you, my friend, for doing it. We always appreciate it, man.
Thanks, man.
No worries, man. This 100-yard challenge is going to be awesome. We're excited about it.
100-yard challenge. Again, real quick, are you still there? Do we still have JR?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay, I was going to say real quick, also, based on the donations, you're doing community service, right? The more people donate, the more community service that's going to be done to support the Lucky Duck Foundation.
John, and that's the big thing. Name, image, and likeness is really a way to get student athletes involved in their communities in meaningful ways that are meaningful for them and also ways that are meaningful for the community. So we've teamed up with the Lucky Duck Foundation, who has just done a great job of tackling homelessness here in the San Diego community. So for every $500 we raise through the 100-yard challenge, we are going to donate an hour of community service to student athletes. So donate an hour of community service back to the Lucky Duck Foundation. So it's an all-in-all great way to not only support the program, but to support one of the biggest issues in San Diego, which is homelessness.
AztecLink.com. Again, a $16 donation or more, you're walking away with a free T-shirt courtesy of our friend J.R. Tolver at Aztec Link. JR, thanks, man. We'll see you next weekend, all right?
Sounds good. Thanks for having me.
Great stuff. All right, JR, it's over. You ready for next weekend, Jim?
Are you ready?
I will be. I will be.
Then I will be too.
Okay, then we'll both be ready next Saturday at 5 o'clock. Pregame coverage. This is a week from Saturday. Pregame coverage will begin at 3 p.m. on San Diego Sports 760. Me and Rich at 5. Ben Fletcher postgame, hopefully talking about San Diego State getting the season off on the right foot against Texas A&M Commerce. And that'll be again next Saturday right here on San Diego Sports 760. All right, we are at the Circa in Las Vegas. It's been a fun couple of days. It really has been a fun couple of days. So on the other side, as we always do, whether we're in San Diego or Las Vegas, we will have Jim's back page for you. We've been telling you about Circa Million and Circa Survivor. But on the other side, of course, Jim's back page for you. Then tomorrow, again, a reminder, join us from the Naughty Barrel, 3 p.m. We're broadcasting live, 9th and Market, downtown San Diego, getting you ready for Joe Musgrove against the Mets. There'll be things to talk about tomorrow at 3 p.m. right here on San Diego Sports 760 from the Naughty Barrel. Jim's back page. It's coming up next right here on Jon and Jim.